Look. It's episode 50. Episode 50, everybody, of the Made in Dreams podcast. And as you can see, it is a stacked house. We're celebrating right. We had some call outs. We had some things not go the way we wanted it to go. But you know what? We're here and we're going to bring it like we do every week that my computer decides to work. And so let's start with the list. Let's roll it down. Up at the top left, you see here is Kataya. Kataya is bringing it. There he is. He's always so chill. Hello. Your voice is awesome. I love it. Okay, next, we got Avender coming back again. Avender Found, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Also, if you don't know, check him out on YouTube. He has his stuff up there. You can see the music and everything that videos has been producing. Get at it. All right. Next, over here, we got ID user profile, which we see in chat. But if you're on Twitter, Karsten Stack, how you going?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Then we have, we have this guy. We got Lucid Nebula. I mean, he's aight.
Dang, bro.
He's aight. No, I'm just playing. I made it a thing that I'm gonna. I made it a thing that I was gonna pick on him all day today but I love him to death, and he's stuck with me through 50 episodes, which it's a God's task. Okay,
it
okay?
is honestly to stay with this guy for 50 episodes is it's draining. It puts limitations on your life. It can corrupt your marriage with your wife, but you make it work. You make it work because Dreams is worth it.
I'm just saying, I got the knee pads and the chapstick, baby. I'll make it rough for you and your life and your wife. No, I'm just waiting. Next, we got Lee's Lady, as of course, lovely as always. How you doing?
Thank you. What's up, y'all? Hope y'all are doing well. Congratulations on 50. That's exciting.
I know, it's so great.
Jamie, I think you ruined your relationship with your wife on your own. I've seen those messages, you guys.
Shit.
I've seen those messages you guys sling in Discord. Okay.
All right.
This is all gonna become a self-help intervention for Jamie by the end of the show. Okay, this is where we're going. And there's one icon here that doesn't have a camera, but you're hearing him for the first time. It's DJ Frags, ladies and gentlemen, all the way on the bottom on the right. And
hello.
And I skipped that order for a reason. Rejoining us yet again is Scott, aka at SZ7238 on Twitter. Bro.
Yes, currently running for the most awkward screen name on Dreams, I think. Definitely. Happy 50th.
I think I can.
Amazing to be here with everybody, as always.
Look, I'm just saying, if we get down to the crux of it here, let me do that. So that I think it's a little loud, but let me do this for you. Did you know that out of the first 2 seasons, I'm not saying this to make anybody feel ways, okay? So don't nobody come with some old feelings, okay? But did you know, Scott, that you actually have the most viewed episode of this podcast?
Wow.
That is an honor for this podcast, especially. You guys have been putting so much effort in, so that's really cool. So we're gonna make this one the best ever, I guess.
That's the plan.
This is gonna have the most views. That's it.
Yeah, this is the plan.
Yeah, it's purely the only reason, Scott, that we have you here today.
It's
just
true.
to pump up the views, okay?
Just
all right.
It's not because of the.
It's the only podcast I've ever been on.
and that's what I'm saying. It's just weird how it worked out, because I don't know how that came to pass, because your work definitely warrants it, but you don't really dabble with the rest of the Dreamiverse yet. Not yet. When you release whatever that game is that you've been working on.
I mean,
I will admit, like many dreamers, I've stuck in the corner working on my own project, but I've actually this month, that's what's really got me fired up, is actually going back and going through everyone's stuff again. I've been away from the scene for about 4 months on work, unfortunately. It was that full on that I couldn't even sort of look at Dreams once. So it's been incredible to come back and see how much everybody has evolved even in such a short time. And all these cool new things that are about to pop up too. So it's a super exciting time. And as I said, my mind's been blown at what I've seen this month on Twitter, especially. Incredible.
every day on Twitter from everyone, including everyone here. So let's go ahead and get it started. There is a part 2, Milo. No, it's not episode 51. It's episode 50, part 2. And that's going to be the Battle Royale Royal Rumble tomorrow. Okay?
Tomorrow's going to be chaos.
Yes. So I guess let's get started. Let's get started, ladies and gents. It's been a year, really, since we started doing this, since we started doing the podcast. And, you know, I really want to go through and check with everyone. What have you been doing since, I guess, for those of you who've been back, your first visit? And what would you say your accomplishment is within Dreams, even if it is just given to the community or showing up in people's comment threads? We'll start at the top. Y'all can see the screen. Kataya, that's you. That's you.
I mean, I've just been continuing working on everything. My biggest problem right now is I have too many projects that I want to do.
Yeah.
And recently I've started to get into like a little, like, I don't know which to focus on. And once you're there, it gets a little hard to even focus on any of them. You know, you sit down and you start working on something, and then it's just hard to get it to come. But I don't know. I've been trying to get some more music stuff done recently, just because I've got a music dream that I've been wanting to finish for many, many months, because I've just been adding songs one by one, and I think that's my big goal right now. And everything else is just when I get the time to do something, I do it. But everything's coming one day. I'll keep working on hops. I haven't done much hops work recently at all, but it's coming.
Totally.
Yeah, I definitely understand what you're talking about. I mean, I personally have way too many projects going on right now, and it was getting hard to focus. And so that's where having someone like Jammy comes in, because he's like, hey, focus on this. And I'm like, okay.
No, I just need a creative manager.
Yeah, it helps. I'm not going to lie, because I'd probably still be stuck in place where I was in Dreams if I didn't have like the Dino project and Jammy with his, whip basically being like, what you working on? Are you doing it? Are you making the thing? And so it helps. It does. So if you're working on any of those projects with somebody, just, send them a message. Be like, every now and again, just tell me to work. Like, just tell me to do stuff.
If you don't have anybody to tell you to do work, just DM me and I'll be more than happy to come in and tell you to do work. Don't worry, it's fine.
Just send you a message every now and then and just say, get to work.
That's fine, Kataya, don't worry. I'll send you
a list of things,
so
and you can
personal.
Just pick something and just tell me what to do. That's
cool. No worries.
Nice, actually. Can this work outside of Dreams too? Can you just tell me how to run my life?
He's gonna pop up on your phone just like bill alerts, and he's just hey, did you remember the internet? No.
Have you showered this week?
Groceries.
Oh boy.
So, Avender, what about you? What you been up to?
Well, I also have been taking, like, I've been kind of away from Dreams for the past few months as well. Loaded it up today, the other day, not too long ago as well. Just kind of looking at what people are doing today, dude. Man, some of these artists, like I just saw someone solid one. I can't remember what the name was because it was numbers after that. But dude, the art is just on fire. Like, people are just blowing my mind. In terms of what I've been up to, I kind of have an accountability buddy myself, in my friend Optical Prime.
Awesome name.
We did like Overload together, Manfeld Farm, just like a little horror game. And I've been trying to help him with his dream project of kind of making a spiritual successor to Shadowrun from the Sega Genesis. So just some cool cyberpunk stuff. Doing a little bit of that, and then also we've been working together on, like, I've done a lot of like kind of narrative stuff. So I wanted to just try to make like a fun game, something that you just like pick up and you play and you don't want to stop, So been trying to make this game sort of like a turret defense, like where you're in a turret, in a city, like trying to shoot like bombs as they come down to drop on the city, and like kaiju drop and stuff, and mechs and stuff, different things like that. So trying, it's been a tough,
Look,
yeah,
trying is all you can do, and sometimes
right,
just trying in dreams can turn a project into something completely different, and then you've gained
oh yeah,
this new insight and determination, and the project just turns into something completely else. It's the beauty of dreams. You know, you can just mess
absolutely,
around on stream for an hour and turn out to build something you're like, okay, well, this is a game now. I'm going to spend the next 600 hours on this.
That's
right,
right.
That's really the strong point of dreams is this flow you can get into. I think I feel it's amazing, and it's kind of a freedom for me to work in dreams and know that I can work like this in dreams, opposed to what I theoretical know about how to work professional. Like you do a level or something, it's of course efficient to block out and plan ahead. But I just love the experience of starting somewhere and adventuring forward through the process and having inspiration come in from all sides, from the dreamiverse. You choose an asset and think, oh, that looks cool, let me do this with that. And it builds itself in some way, and you experience a journey through it. And that's so strong about dreams for me.
Totally. The problem is, like, it's a double-edged sword. Like with someone like me, man, I just have too many ideas all the time. It never stops. So like something like dreams is amazing because there's no barriers. You just pick up the tools and like you go, and you can just swap in and out of, like in the professional world you have like 3D software, and then you have the game engine, and then you have like the DAW for music and voiceovers and everything. With dreams, since it's all in one, there's no barriers, and so someone like me, I'm just going from one thing to the next to the other, and it's like just this chaotic Tetris of building up all the things until it gets there. But the problem is, like, I'll just start a whole new game of something else like in 5 minutes, and like a whole nother idea on something else. It's a beautiful thing, though. It's a beautiful thing.
There is nothing else quite like dreams in regards to what it offers as a full package. Like
Yeah.
I've never seen anything where you can do literally everything all in the same space without having to
Right.
leave to an external program. And just the freedom that that gives you and the creativity that you can do with that is just ridiculous.
Yeah, that junk is
100%.
crazy.
So, and with that, let's move on to Karsten, or ID user profile. And what about you? Like, what have you personally been working on?
Yeah, I've, like so many others, have some projects. I've got one major project that I've been working on now for almost all my time on Dreams. I've started out with the beta, and I had a little project there that I somehow deleted because of user error. That hurt a little bit, but I just took the experience from that and then moved on to what I've planned for years as a game to realize. And I've been working steadily on that. I'm not a big person that likes to share a lot of this work because I never feel comfortable with it unless it's solid and it's basically final. But I've shared a little bit on Twitter, and that's nice. And of course, I've got other projects that just wrap onto you in the meantime, where you see, oh, I need to, or I want to do some sculpting now, and I'm sculpting something. I've released on a whim early this year a music video because I found this singer, this Lady Snipeshot. He
Yeah.
has an awesome voice and just sung songs a cappella. So I felt the inspiration and did a music video on that. I did music too, and that was picked by MM. I'm very grateful for that, and that's probably my only and biggest showcase or showpiece on Dreams itself. But I have some other projects too. Another music video I'm working on, and I've like I guess 3 main things I'm switching between mostly. So when just feel one day is no, that's not the project, I'm gonna work on that other thing, just to feel good about it, and to keep things recreational, because that's what Dreams for me is, on creating in Dreams. I don't feel that need to be efficient. I don't want to. That's one of the reasons why I don't share a lot, because I don't want to like pin down on something that I showed and then probably somebody could come in and say, hey, where's that? What's up with that? And why didn't you release that yet? I mean, it's probably no one cares about that, but it's in my mind, and I've my ways about this. So I'm keeping low key on most of it and keep things in a recreational mood with Dreams. And even though I feel at times a little burned out, because Dreams is pretty much an addiction, I have to say. It calls to me every time. It's a wonderful piece of software that just says all the time, hey, passion is right here. let's do something. Yes, and I love that about Dreams, that I've got this chance to output so much. But from time to time, and recently, I've made a conscious decision to just step back some time, and I've picked up another game for real. I've replayed Prey recently, just to get some distance between the Dreams and me, because sometimes that is necessary, I think.
Yeah, I guess it kind of comes off like there was a study done recently where people were talking about there can be an overburden of choice, and it's become a study that's become more like prevalent, or they're doing more of them now because of things kind of like our binge culture, where even with things like Netflix, the idea that you have so much you could watch that you end up not watching anything. And so, yeah, it's just like, I understand that sometimes that feeling in Dreams where it's like, I can do anything. Oh, wait, I can do anything. And it's just like it changes tones in your head and can become a lot to deal with.
Absolutely.
So then we'll move on to Lee's. Yeah, I skipped you, Jamie, because you know. You know. So it's Lee's. Don't make that
bro,
face.
You really just
No, because I'm gonna skip me too. I ain't gonna talk about anything I'm doing. This is about y'all. This is about the people who have helped us create and sustain a great podcast. Oh no, Lee's. Lee's.
Sorry. I'm here.
Yeah.
Yes. What's the question?
The question is basically what have you been up to since you were last on? Which for you, I think may be the shortest time.
Quite short.
It was the end of May.
So give us a rundown.
Well, there was DreamsCom, so that was a pretty big one, because I had an intention to release a demo for DreamsCom for a big project that I'm working on, but I didn't. So that was cool. I did have the slot available on Dreams, so if I wanted to list the creation, it would appear in the playlist for DreamsCom, and I just didn't do it. And I tried, but I realized that it was more important, and it's interesting because I'm hearing others say this too. You know, it's important not to rush. It's important, I think, um, do justice to what you're trying to create, and also to
Absolutely.
oneself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Im because it's so easy to put on all that pressure, you know, it's just everywhere in our culture, right? Where we go, 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 we gotta gig economy, we gotta hurry up, we gotta get everything done, we gotta do it now. But it was it was honestly like a big wake up moment for me because I don't mess with due dates. I don't like due dates. And I say due dates as opposed to deadlines for a reason. First of all, that's weird. Deadlines, like what? Like, why are we talking about death? Apparently, it's a Civil War term for those who didn't know. A
Huh.
deadline was a Confederate prison, and they would have an invisible line that if prisoners went past that line, they would, you know, they'd be dead. But yeah, so that's where that word comes from. So I don't like, yeah, I'm serious.
Wow.
It's true.
I know
Okay.
you are, but it's just the fact that you
So
went.
I don't use it. I have to. Well,
That's
look, I gotta
crazy.
know.
Wow.
I gotta
Well,
know why I'm using a
due
word with
date
dead in it.
is now my preferred term of choice now. So
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
same.
thanks for
Jeez.
that.
No problem. So I had, and I don't usually use due dates, but for DreamsCom, what was I going to do? Like, I mean, we're working in this framework that Media Molecules sets up for us. And if we want to participate, we're going to have to play by their rules. And those rules include due dates. So, you know, I kind of thought it would be all right because I had been preparing for so long, but it wasn't. I was just like not happy with, and then when DreamsCom, everything came out, I saw Nautical Squatch over here, who's a great creator. Big shout out to Nautical Squatch. He released a showcase of his game as a demo in DreamsCom. I was like, why didn't I do that? Why didn't I think to do that? I could have just made a showcase. Here, I'm like trying to make a whole game experience. So, you know, I learned a lot from that. So that was a big thing that happened between now and then. And besides that, just getting way deeper into that survival simulator that I'm working on, which is just consumed my life, you know. And someone mentioned it being an addiction, and my therapist tells me it's a positive addiction. So hey, I'm gonna indulge it.
Oh, yeah.
And right, like it's not if it's causing problems in your life, that's one thing, but generally it just gives me a purpose, so that's fine. And I've been finding that collaborating online, I've just more and more and more gotten so much life from that because I'll be working on something and someone in the chat will just be like, "Oh, hey, you know, I could do that, by the way, and I would do a great job." And I'm like, "Would you?" And they're like, "Yeah, I would." And so they do it and they show it to me, and it's better than anything I could have ever done. And now I have a collaborator, apparently. And so I think really just like coming to appreciate how valuable it is to open up development to them whoever wants to roll on through, and it's really benefited me, and I found it to be even more valuable than having a more traditional collaborator structure. So I'm trying to be somewhat structured with it and start a somewhat of a game studio. I don't know if I'm going to go full LLC yet, but certainly I want to develop some way where we all can feel like we're sharing credit for the work because it's not just me. So anyway, that's kind of what I've been doing. Same old with an extra dollop of understanding what matters to me. And due dates, I don't care about them. Let it happen when it's ready to happen.
So
That's
you're not making a ghost train.
You know, well, so no, that you bring up a good point. You bring up a good point because
Yeah.
there are
Yeah.
these jams, and again, like I say, with DreamsCom, there's a due date. We can't ask Media Molecule to push it back or to say, hey, can you be more understanding? Like that's just the world that they operate in, and I understand why. And so with the Halloween event and any other event, the jams, they're gonna have due dates. It is what it is. Even your jam, Qtaya, your jam has a due date, even though it can be a little
That's for my
gentle about
sanity.
that. It can be a little gentle. Right. Well, and I understand that, right? It makes sense. If you want to hold an event, you have to have this moment where everything comes together. And so, you know, I'm playing around with the ghost train. I'm checking it out. You know, I made like
Alright.
a little contraption that shows a timer at the bottom, so you know, because you can only make it 2 minutes long. So there's a little timer. It shows you how long you are
It's
in
like the
your
train has a due date for when it has to be done.
Yeah.
and
Yep.
that due date can
He's
It's
not
just
everywhere.
wrong. He's not wrong.
I'm okay with that due date because I'm just gonna do what I can. And if I don't finish something, at least I learned something by poking around and trying it out, and I can appreciate better the other things people put out there. Anyway, so yeah, I Ghost Train, maybe, maybe.
All right. All right.
That's
And
it.
we get down to Scott. What you been up to? What's been going on in your world?
What Scott's been doing, he's been making magic.
Well, I've been blessed, I must say, with so much support from people in MM as well. So I feel like I've already had my time in the sun. You know what I mean? You sort of go, oh, cool, okay, everyone can see what I'm doing, and now I can get back to the pressure being put on me. So yeah, I've been busy since I got back because I wanted to sort of catch up to everyone a bit and sort of not lose the momentum that you do get in dreams when you're on a bit of a roll with your own idea. But I mean, everyone here has said some really sort of poignant things about applying the pressure to yourself. And I think that's where dreams being such an incredible tool set. I mean, I've never used anything that's even close to having that connective link to your own creativity where you can just get it out with minimum frustration. And again, I used high-end tools and they're great and everything, but they aren't designed to enjoy yourself. They're technical tools, and how Dreams somehow seamlessly does the technical integration with everything you're doing through so many different sort of genres of creativity is so astounding that you tend to go, well, as you said before, I can do anything. So therefore, you kind of lock up almost because you go, oh, I could do this, that, the other. And you start going, well, that's too derivative, or that's too much of a big project. And I think I got trapped in that thing that I've told so many people, oh, you should always do a few small projects first and learn the tools. And I've actually found myself just working on one monster project that's gotten huge, and decided to sort of pour all my learning into that and make that the learning experience as opposed to small things, which sounds insane. But I actually do like the fact that it's building up, and you start feeling those little feelings of that a developer might feel, for instance. And I think because we're all developers now, we don't mean to be, but we've all accidentally become game developers. And I think that pressure that you apply to yourself is important. If some people come from professional background or business, we're probably like, oh, that's cool, you can hit that deadline, that due date next week. So I think the jams and DreamsCom and some of these other events are actually good because they do tend to be a rallying call for dreamers who are not the most on-time people, because I think dreamers are a special, we're not necessarily all Blender people or Maya people or photography people or storytellers or voiceover artists or musicians. We're all mixed together into this one sort of interesting community, but we do need focus, and we do need someone to go, everyone, pay attention, your stuff's due. And that's where MM's, everyone that's down there, Jen, and everyone that's driving the community events and trying to get these things up, I think is fantastic, because otherwise we probably would never finish anything. I know it's same with the Ghost Train. I've been like, oh, that's amazing, I'm going to do this and that and the other, and you just find that the 2 weeks go past. And then if you don't have that inspiration, which is a big part of dreams, you can sit down in front of dreams every day, and because it is addictive, it's incredibly addictive. But sometimes you just sit there looking at the default cube going, okay, what do I want to do? And there's just too many, you just get logjam of ideas. So if I could just be on it all day, all night, I would be. And it's not even exhausting to use. It's actually more that you exhaust yourself through what you're trying to do. And also when you see everyone else's incredible work in the Dreamiverse, especially where it's been curated so you can really get to the good stuff quickly, your jaw just hits the floor. And you don't, like so many other types of things, you don't walk away from that experience going, oh, geez, it's so much better than everything I was thinking of. You actually go, oh, that's maybe want to push it up a bit or push it to the left a bit. So I think there's a real feedback loop with the Dreamiverse, and we're starting to see that so much more now that everyone's skills have increased so much, and more importantly, everyone's focuses have focused. They've all managed to find their niche and their groove in the Dreamiverse, and that will always take a few years. That was always going to take a few years to happen, and now we're seeing this year, I think, especially with what we've all been through. is we're seeing a real camaraderie around dreams and our own projects. And I think the walls have dropped down a lot of people, and we're all feeling like we're in the same family, as opposed to all using a piece of software. And that's incredibly rare. You don't get really that from anything else, any other application. It almost sounds cheap to call it a program, because it's more than that. It's a place to be and a place to hang out and create stuff. So I agree with what everyone's been saying here. It's a scary thing, because it makes you sort of look at your stuff honestly, and that's just a great thing to do in the creative process.
That's one thing that I enjoy most about Dreams, apart from the software itself, is just the community and the interaction, and it has drawn me onto Twitter. I was completely separated from all social media until Dreams. Now I'm on Twitter, and I have to work around the fact and somehow work that into my life, and that has kind of become a demanding process in itself, like Twitter and the constant feed of information. So I've even made some choices about having an app that just deletes the hashtags, the trending hashtags, because I don't want to see that and feel the need to click on that, because what's that? I have to really manage somehow this whole universe that has opened up now.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, because I mean,
that's a really good point.
Well, yeah,
I have to do the same thing. I have like an extension installed, and it will take away that whole sidebar. I have to do it too, because even though I consider myself somewhat strong of will, at the end of the day, that stuff is designed very carefully to capture attention and to influence the way that we think and the way that we click mostly. But if it has a certain gravitas to it, they're gonna put it there as much as they can, so that way and it's usually very upsetting. It's like, if I'm going to engage with this kind of content, I want to choose to engage with it. I understand, and I do appreciate that Dreams at least has kind of a social network built into it, with, leaving comments and getting feedback. And, it may just seem like leaving comments, but I see the way they update it, where it's kind of like reply threads. And I mean, we get notifications for it. And those notifications, they have a little red number that gives me a little, or blue, I think it's blue, a little number that gives me a dopamine hit every time I see it. And I want to try to get my notifications getting up. So it's kind of got a social network built into it a little bit, except it's actually interwoven with the work, which I think is really cool. But still, yeah, I actually do relate. I really didn't use Twitter or anything like that either until Dreams came along. It's interesting how it's opening people up, because it just has this possibility built into it.
And that's something we talked about a few episodes ago, was whether or not like Dreams needed a companion app, if it needed some, like, because if I had the choice, like, I already left Facebook, I ain't got no time for that. I already pulled away from Instagram, no time for that. I only got back on Twitter because I was like, I wonder what the Dreams community is like there, and it's like it's the hub. Yeah, it's the hub for Dreams. And so I'm not subscribed to any other hashtags or anything. My whole timeline is Dreams. And you had brought up that extension before, Lise, about that removes that side panel. Now, well, I mean, I should get it, but I just keep I have tunnel vision. Like, I'm just on my feed, and I don't see anything else outside of it.
That's good.
But I guess lastly, let's go ahead and get to Frags. Frags, you've been quiet. Oh boy,
he's been patient.
He's been very patient. So Frags, what you been up to, man? How you been doing?
So, are we talking about since I got Dreams?
Yeah, because you haven't been necessarily on the show yet, so I'm guessing, like, but what's been up with you lately? Like, where's your journey through Dreams led you at this point?
Well, from someone who's never actually worked on music almost nearly professionally, since Dreams is just crazy with that. Now I don't know, I've gotten really far in less than a year getting Dreams. I've been able to do everything that I wanted, all the types of genres of music that I've ever wanted to do. Now I'm starting to learn music theory, which is what my third album that I'm working on is going to be based off of, my journey through music theory. And
Fantastic.
I don't know, I like to brag because at my age, releasing 2 albums in less than a year, I'm proud of that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Should be.
Crazy.
Yeah, I think
And
that's for any age, but just for the record, if you're willing to divulge, what is your age?
to, well,
You went quiet real quick.
Yeah. Oh, what is your age? No, it sounded like you. It sounded like you powered down.
well,
DJ Frags is
Um,
disconnected.
I started at 18 years old, and now I'm 19.
Cool.
Very good.
But
Well, yeah, that's just crazy, and specifically for someone that had no prior experience to music development before coming into Dreams as well, like just going in completely fresh, and for a year's work to drop 2 albums with no prior experience at all is just crazy to me.
and
And
both
at the
NMT.
quality.
Totally.
At the
I'm proud of
quality as
that.
well, yeah, it's insane, absolutely insane, and that's what Dreams
But
can do. Opens doors.
besides the music, I've also been working on 2 projects. One I've been showing around, the Boy project. I have a team of 7. We're working on that, but I think we've taken a break because, first of all, one of my teammates' PS4 is broken.
Oh no.
No.
So, he's trying to get a PS5 next, and someone else is actually working on another game that I'm helping with. I think I'm supposed to be doing soundtrack. I don't know if he wants me to do anything else. But other than that, animations that I haven't talked about yet. One I've already told my Vicious about, but all the rest, I don't know. I feel like they're gonna be pretty big, so I can't really talk about them.
All right.
Keeping them close to the chest, I like it. Well, I
Yes.
look forward to seeing what you're doing.
Yeah, fresh out of Jamie's book, right there. So close to the chest that's literally inside of his chest, and you can't get it. Zero information being let out. But we'll get back to that. We'll get back to that because
Oh,
that's
okay.
that's for the Royal Rumble tomorrow. So, but I mean, everybody kind of touched on what I wanted to talk about next, and from now on, it's a free for all. You speak when you speak. That's what, we ain't going in an order. Nobody's sitting around waiting. I want to see blows come out, okay? You elbow your way through the crowd. So, like, we've talked about a lot recently in our shows about where Dreams stands in the gaming community, like the perception of it from people on the outside, on the inside. We're obviously on the inside, so, like, I guess if you, not necessarily a grade for Dreams, but where do we stand with Dreams of its fulfillment to us personally? Like, I've always said that Dreams is an upward trajectory. We don't know exactly where it's going to end up, but, the ideas of PC ports and what that would do to legitimize it in the gaming community and stuff like that. But ultimately, for me, it's been a gift. But where do you feel it stands currently, I guess, in not just our community, but the gaming community as a whole?
I mean, I'll have to jump in here. So I've got a lot of lag, so I hope I don't step on anyone. I personally think that it's still in this incubation period. I think there's definitely a roadmap for Dreams from a corporate level, but I think also they know that they can't really rush this because, I mean, if you look at what happened with, say, even LBP, it took time for everyone to learn the tools and develop, again, a house style for the platform. And then they keep adding things in as well. So we're always catching up to the new tools and the new things that we can do. But definitely, you can see through the outreach team, they're now doing these co-op things. They're announcing a lot of initiatives with other partners and companies. So I think they're trying to find an ecosystem that Dreams can plug dreamers into to get them to do other things and make their skill sets actually mean something. So you can go get work in Dreams essentially down the track. A lot of people are focused on, it should be on PC, or it should be, we should be able to monetize it. And they're all really good arguments, to be honest. But I think Dreams itself is still, for another period of time, going to be in development itself, and we're going to be just keeping up with that. It's such an organic process, much like when you make a dream, and I think MM are doing it the right way. They're listening to everybody and taking their time to get it right, because, as I said, you rush something like this, you can cheapen it for all of us. I don't want it to necessarily become the most popular thing in the world at the same time as I really do, because everyone should be using this. It's incredible. But also, you don't want the Dreamiverse to just be full of garbage. Everyone in it now seems to be so finely tuned, and everyone's helping each other up. And I think the Dreamiverse could be, it'll end up where you won't need to curate it. You'll just go, everything on every page is just fantastic in its own way, as opposed to, say, year one, where we were wading through a lot of stuff, a lot of, sort of fiddling around with sort of basic things. It's certainly, as you said, an upward trajectory. It's not flatlining at all. And we're not even at multiplayer. We're not even at output options. We're not even at 3D printing. We're not even at so many things that we've got to look forward to. So we're still in this golden age of it, I think, together. We're still in that really fun spot.
Well,
golden age.
An interesting thing right now is that so many people a year in are starting to, or have been for months now, working on their big projects. So you have a lot of people who initially they were coming out with some new small project every month that was a cool project and a really cool thing, but they were little bite-sized things, and a lot of those people are suddenly now they're in that phase where they're working on something long term, and you see less stuff coming out from people that are working on really good stuff. So it's kind of a weird place a year in, because it's almost like the types of projects have changed for a lot of the community. Because I know even introducing here today, it seemed like everyone has big projects that they're working on that are just, they're coming one day. And it's a weird place to be right now for Dreams as far as what's coming out.
Hopefully bigger things will happen soon. I mean, I was just thinking about what you're saying, because that's interesting. People starting now to work on long projects. I know for me, and I'm sure for others too, that some of us have been working on a big project since Dreams came out. And so, I imagine that, and I think we're already seeing it, but I think as time continues to roll on, we'll see these giant things drop, because people have been working on them since Dreams came out, since beta. So yeah, I just wanted to add that. I think, yeah, you're right. And hopefully that'll get, not hopefully, but I think it'll get shooken up as soon as time goes on.
I don't know. I reckon we're at least another couple of years away before we get that massive influx of, top quality, and I'm using that very lightly, but the top quality stuff in Dreams, like the huge games that people have been working on. And I think that's a healthy time to
Mid-quality.
actually, I think it's a healthy time to wait as well, a couple of years, because I think Dreams still needs time to grow. The users need time to still get used to all the tools. Media Molecule are looking at introducing some new tools soon, so there's all going to be that as well. And I think within a couple of years' time, I think the creators on Dreams is going to be matured enough to be able to drop high quality stuff at a lot less time, because they've figured out their workflow and what works best for them, how to create stuff efficiently. And then, we're just going to have this huge influx of top quality content. And then that's where Media Molecules are going to drop the whole player side of things, where they bring the players to Dreams, so there's people to play those games other than just creators. Because right now, realistically, Dreams is just a creator platform. It's not necessarily a platform for players, because we just don't have that push for it yet, because we're still waiting for all this stuff to come out. And then you need to have that good balance of creator versus player, because ultimately not every creator is going to be a player, and not every player is going to be a creator. So it's all about finding that unique balance in that to make it work for everybody. And I think we're probably 2 or 3 years away from that.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate.
We'll
Yeah, and
get
also
some
I think it's
mid-tier stuff, I
finding the
think.
audience too. Yeah, well, that's the thing. I think the audience is going to change too, because short form stuff that's 30 seconds or a few minutes of playing, that has a market, let's say. But so do
Absolutely.
people that want to sit down and enjoy a game that you come back to over a few. Like I would love to. Still haven't managed to do this yet because of my time. But when you do come back to a game in Dreams, it's weird because you open it again and go, oh, it's left off where I was. You sort of assume it's going to be like LVP and it's all going to reset. And then you realize people put all this work into this sort of episodal content almost. You're going to find people, collaborators are going to collaborate quicker now because they've had practice. There's the collaboration thing hasn't even lit up yet in a big
Absolutely
way.
not.
But you're going to find people, so you're going to find people who go, I can bang out a track. I can bang out a sculpt. And you're going to start seeing these sort of iterative builds happen even quicker too. And we're already seeing teams, that are forming in Dreams like development houses. And that's really exciting just to see that you could see people literally create a whole game studio out of this that actually functions on the same levels, essentially.
Yeah.
Even what Cyberfilm's are doing with kickstarting a project. Like I've been waiting. I wonder who's going to be the first to kickstart a huge game and just make it happen, but get some funds and make it happen properly. This might be something even MM contribute to down the track. They might have plans for saying, well, maybe we can assist if we think these things are getting to a certain level. I think I'd love to see, I really hope Sony put something like a Dreams Play or something on PS5 down the track, or something where people can be exposed to the cream of the crop without actually having to be, actually have purchased a copy of Dreams. I think that's a huge part of it too. And I really think Sony and Dreams and everyone else are just sitting back to wait for that sort of to normalise.
Yeah, they're just waiting.
And then when they do, they're going to hit us with the PS5 version, and we'll go, we have to do everything again.
But also, quite interestingly, I also think, just before everybody else jumps in, is the short content in Dreams also is extremely important. Like the really short games and the really short videos and the short music that everybody makes, because as we know, shortened down content seems to be the most interesting thing to people right now. I mean, look at TikTok, for instance. It's that short burst of something new every 60 seconds is what keeps people hooked to TikTok. And I think that could work really well for Dreams as well, is just having these thousands of short played experiences that people can just go through on an endless stream, especially when you just click random plays on Dreams where it just plays one dream after another. And if they curate that to shorten down content specifically, it would keep people playing for longer. And I think that's also something that could be really utilized in Dreams if done correctly.
Right.
Now
That's
I
something that
understand the
I
1 minute
like.
jam.
Sorry.
Now I understand the 1 minute jam. It's gonna be a lot
Dude,
of TikToks.
all of the things that I've been trying to make have been like short form experiences, like Vestige, the one that actually like got me part of the Made in Dreams podcast and stuff. That one is like 15-20 minutes, and did I spend 2 straight months every day working on it? Yes, but it's 15 minutes long, and I think that I don't know. I think that that's really, at least as a creator for me, where I'm the happiest is when I can see people enjoying what I've done. Like I love watching people stream that and seeing their reactions to it, especially because I like doing stuff with stories and stuff with like twists and stuff with I don't know, just I like trying to do something that's impactful when it's story driven, right? So it's really important for me to see people play that and see them enjoy it. And when you're making shorter content, it's like you can get more out there and see it more often and just enjoy that kind of side of it as well, seeing other people enjoy what you're doing. I personally, I would love to have a project where it's just a really, like I'm working on it for 2 years or something. I just don't have the attention span. I can't do it. I wish I could, but I just can't right now.
To Dreams, I think, where we have these opportunities to get immediate feedback. You can make a short thing, and you're not just getting feedback from any old person. You're getting feedback from other people in the community. A lot of those streamers are people who have been playing other Dreams games or make Dreams games themselves. So it's like I think something really special is happening that has never happened in the game development industry, where it's like we sort of like S was saying, I'm just going to say S, sort of like S was saying, I think that people will be able to bang stuff out a lot more quickly, and because it's like that process just gets consolidated, that working together, putting it out, getting feedback, making changes, growing, evolving. It's just like a much faster process. So, big things are great too, but I think that all of those things have their place,
Yeah.
It's
All of
quite
them.
interesting what you say about that feedback, and like if when you see people like make an indie game and they upload a trailer to YouTube or something, the comments is just terrible. Like, oh, you should have done this or you should have done that, and you're like, bro, do you even know how long that would take to do? Like, that would take another 7-8 months of development and testing
2
and
months,
whatever.
15 minutes.
Yeah, but like when people comment stuff on Dreams on the Dreamiverse, you're having comments from people who are in the same boat as you, who understand what it takes to actually develop what you've made. So you're getting more genuine feedback. Like if someone says, "Oh, well, maybe you should have done this because it would have helped with whatever," it's genuine feedback because people are all on the same page of what it takes to do what you've done, and that's what
Yeah.
I think is really special about the whole comment section on Dreams.
Yeah.
That's a great
Uh,
point. I think the encouragement is a bit. I mean, I think Carsten was saying before. I personally was never on social media at all until Dreams because I felt I wanted to be more connected to the community even through the Dreamiverse because I wasn't uploading anything at the start, but I wanted to be part of the excitement of it in a way. And the fact that when you look at, there's only a few hundred people really that are actually being productive all the time, and that's kind of the big weird part of how it works. Is it sucks people in, but I think they're not shut-ins, but I think it's people who are generally insular with their own creativity, and they're very comfortable in keeping it close. Like we were saying, we do like to keep our stuff close and work on things, and not sure if that's ready to go out and show everyone. But I think that's part of it. I've finally let go of those things that I would always get hung up about. I go, I can't let anyone see that. Now I'm like, it's okay because everyone's so encouraging. And it's a bit of a love fest, but in a good way. Because I think everybody, like you were saying before, everybody knows what's involved, from logic through to just the environment that we work in. So everyone's a little bit more forgiving. Plus, Dreams has this sort of culture of compromise where you have to be kind of efficient, and you can't just throw things in and go, I got to 100% thermo in the first minute. There's people now that are putting so much stuff into a load. That just comes with experience. And that's the thing, is it really lets you get all that stuff out. So, too cool.
I just really, really identified with that, hitting 100% thermo extremely quickly with nothing on the screen. I did it a week ago. I was like, yeah, I want to make these little panels, and I literally made 4 of them and hit 100 thermo, and I was like, what? And so like, I thought I was getting better at optimizing, but then I did that, and I was like, oh well, that sucks. But it does speak to the larger thing of like what Dreams is teaching us, even like you said about organization. Like, I mean, everybody that's worked on a big project, it has probably come across hardships. Let's put it that way. They come across hardships, sometimes in the form of people, and they and you're and not to speak ill of anyone in that transaction, but that is in itself something that most people don't run into daily, like having to deal with that on a I guess on a business level, even though it's a game, like, and thinking that you would run into that situation in a game, like, on your PlayStation.
We just because we're dreamers doesn't mean we get to avoid the same things that most developers go through, and that involves being creatively exhausted, or being stressed about deadlines, or the people you're collaborating with are frustrating, whatever. It doesn't matter. That's the same whether you're doing a AAA game or doing a 30-second dream. I think we still get to experience all that thing, and that's why I think that first year there's a lot of adjustment that you actually have to do, whether you collaborate or whether you work by yourself, to sort of, as you said, not turn it into a business, but you have to sort of give it a framework. Otherwise, you just spin around doing cool stuff and having a blast, but you do just spin around. Just you go in there to ride a track and you end up sculpting a chicken. It's kind of confusing.
Yeah,
well, we can develop our own structures. Which I think Dreams allows is thinking outside of what might be normal. Even though yes, we're not escaping for sure, like the things that game devs have been dealing with for generations. At the same time, we have this opportunity to do something that maybe wasn't possible because there wasn't as much accessibility, which is I think what makes Dream so great. It's something that people who, I look, I love logic and dreams. I love making logic stuff. I love making contraptions work, making things do this, figuring out how other things work, breaking it, putting it back together again. And I had dabbled in coding before, but really just that text on the screen, just like it's so boring. Like it's so much just monotony. And with dreams, there's just 3D interaction. There's more colors, more icons. There's just more for me to tactile get my hands on. And so
Tangible.
Yeah,
tangible,
it's like
yes.
Swordfish with Hugh Jackman.
I've heard someone say that Dream's
Probably.
logic is more like electrical engineering or something
Yeah.
than it is like actual programming.
Yeah.
Visual
Right.
programming,
But I still get to explore those like principles of what components, what do you have to, what systems do you have to put together in order to make an inventory work, or a battle system work, whatever it is. It's still those same components. But yeah, because you're pumping something out, and maybe it's not in any rhyme or reason, but you never know. Somebody might come along and ask for something, and you make it for them, and then next thing you know, you're working together and you're making something together. It's so open. It's kind of like a final frontier, not a final frontier, but it's certainly a frontier.
It has a lot
There's
of
a-
potential, I think, in that it is such a new format for mashing up creative arts like audio and sculpting. Everything is so close together, and there's this dynamic I mentioned before where you just go from one place to another, which is quite unprofessional. But I think there's also a potential in this that creates different things that would be created in a professional environment. You would come up with different things, and different patterns evolve out of this, or emerge out of this suite of tools you have, and the community.
Yeah,
It's its
there's
own thing.
totally. I had a friend that does game development in Unity, and he also does Blender and some other stuff. And I was talking to him about some different things. And we talked about animation and animating characters and everything. And it was really hard for me to describe well, okay, so he said in Blender you make the character, you make the dynamic topology, or not, yeah, which is like a sculpting term, and then you have, God, what is it called? Maybe that is what it's called. Anyway, you make a mesh over your sculpt that's for animating and everything. And you actually make the animations, if you're using Blender and Unity, for example, you actually make the character animations in that. And then you have to take that and bring it into the engine. And so you have this wall between the animation in the 3D software and the engine, and you have to line it up in the engine. And so that's why you'll see like characters that are glitching out in other games. Like they'll be playing an animation separate, like they'll be sitting on a bench, but they'll sit like next to the bench and the bench isn't under them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's this whole separation there. And the crazy thing about Dreams is that no, you just animate the character to sit on the thing right there, and
Directly
you're
insane.
going from like creating it in the engine, making the 3D object, animating that 3D object to interact with that other object. And that's kind of like, at least in my experience, briefly diving into Unreal and Blender and all these other tools because of my interest in Dreams. It's these like walls put up between all these other softwares. It's very indicative of how it all, like how separated everything is, and that experience you were saying with like the numbers and the coding. It's all very, very sort of like dry barrier kind of driven environment.
It's terrible.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
just it's terrible.
And
That's,
and I think like honestly, I think we're gonna see other engines just take this idea of breaking down those creative barriers and implementing them in Unity and Unreal. Like, they already have certain things where you can just grab assets from like the Unity library and stuff, kind of like what Dreams is doing. And I think we're just going to see more and more people understand that in order to create something like the best you can, really, in a creative thing, you have to do it in a creative way. And by that I mean like the tools have to be just like you just reach in and you do it. You know, it's not.
See, and this
Yeah.
this is why I wanted to, like, the last couple of episodes, we keep going back to this idea of like the PC port and everything, and to relate this back to movies, as I always will. Basically, back when Netflix was destroying everyone and nobody else had a service up, they spoke to the head of Netflix and asked him what his business plan was. Like, what was it that they were trying to do? And he said, well, we have to become HBO before HBO can become us. And that's when you saw the like jump in them doing original stuff, and then a bunch of the other companies started pulling their material back from Netflix, be like, wait a minute, we can't give them all our stuff, because, you know. And I feel like what you just mentioned is why I push so hard, in hopes that Media Molecule like is in fact shooting for the stars. Because if I see people start giving credit to like Unity or Blender for some of the things that Media Molecule is literally like pioneered with this game, I'm gonna be upset. I know they won't be upset.
Don't worry.
Yeah, I know they won't be upset because they're too nice. But I'm gonna be upset.
It will happen.
I mean, look, I
It will
think
happen.
Yeah.
it's the thing is that they're, as you said before, because it's such a unified experience when you're creating, you can do everything in one environment. You have to consider Dreams just like that is too on its platform. So you have its own ecosystem of VR and motion control and DualSense and the whole Sony ecosystem. I can see why Sony would be going, yeah, we'd rather encourage people to get all these little bits of kit. Like I've said, you can have an entire 4K VR development kit for next to nothing in your lounge room. That's a very different experience to Unity, you know. So I think that's the thing, is a PC port's not a bad idea to get it out there. I want everyone to touch this once in their life. I really do, because it democratizes creativity. But I do think that the reason why it's working is because of the platform it's on and the type of people that operate on that platform. And, you know, as you said, I've touched Unity, and their community is very encouraging, but very different. There's a lot of people telling you what you're doing wrong.
Well, Jamie just got half a chubby,
Dreams,
so
Yeah.
you're at
But
you're
that's the
at
thing. We've got to remember, the PlayStation Store is full of garbage at the moment. The PlayStation Store has started to fill up with a lot of $5 things that someone's done with just some assets off Unity and I can't even believe it's on PSN. And I'm seeing stuff in Dreams that runs circles around it. That's what should be up there for $5, if anything should be. So it's funny that we're seeing a crossover. We're seeing people do bigger projects in Dreams that are more polished, and you're seeing the PSN store show stuff that's just terrible. It's garbage.
Yeah. I mean, it's
there.
yeah, it's just more so just the fact that, like, you know, if there's a standard, I think MM has set it, and it's literally just the fact that people are so beholden to what came before Dreams, that because Dreams doesn't have that extra step of accessibility, like, you know, it runs into issues.
More
but
accessible. It's more
No.
accessible.
It's more
people have PlayStations than PCs.
I would say yes, but at the same time, we talked about how it's viewed. And this is the thing where we talked about in the other.
That's what Lynn was saying.
What Lynn
was saying is, as soon as you have keyboards and screens, you're not creating anymore. You're a machine. And I think that's the thing, is that the PC becomes, it's a different environment. Sitting on your couch and making a game is the reason why Dreams feels so different to us, because you're in that creative mode. But I think if you want to sit up at a computer and do this all day, isn't that what we do during the day?
This is
I do that when I'm in Dreams.
This is why I wanted Scott on this topic, because I've watched back and I'm like, I bet that we're at odds on this. See, the thing is I think that like we talked about before about the there was a day where somebody came up on like the Dreams Twitter, and they were talking about how somebody, like, if you're a Dreams creator, it's a person who was an indie game dev, and they were like, if you work in Dreams, then you're just LARPing. You're role playing as a game developer, and
Don't let that
he's
get to
no. I
No.
don't let it get to me. He's full of shit. Okay, the dude's a moron. The only thing I
peddling
take.
his shit.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. The only thing that he has of any worth to anything he said, which is really not because of what he said, but more so the sentiment, is why I want a PC port. Is because it comes down to there are people who use PlayStation and there are people who use PCs, and people who use PCs, like I said, are beholden to this other form of creating. But the idea, okay, well, we talked about that. We talked about that on the podcast. Not everybody has $400 or can find a PlayStation to literally just be like, no. Hold on. All I'm saying is you already have the computer, yes, but to tell somebody, oh, just go spend the money on that. Like you can't do that. Even outside of this conversation, you can't just tell people, hey, just go buy this.
I can tell people.
You can, but it doesn't make it valid.
Look, it's
Doesn't
no
make
different.
it valid either.
It's no different than people online complaining that they want to play Spider-Man or they want to play Wolverine. Like the whole argument of Wolverine being on PS5 and it's a PS5 exclusive. It's not coming to PC, the same as Spider-Man. You know, there's people arguing online about that. The point is, if you want to play that, no, it isn't. It's the exact same thing. Dreams is a PlayStation exclusive content. If you want to play that, you need to buy a PlayStation. Yeah. That's the whole point.
We have to keep capitalism in mind,
and
right?
all I said, and all I'm saying is that if it were to have a PC port, I don't see anything negative about it. No. That's it. No matter what, it is making the game more accessible to other people. Like I don't care what argument. I don't care what argument you're trying to make. It still makes it more accessible. If you have let's say you do want to play Dreams. Let's say you do want to play Dreams. You don't have a PlayStation. You go and you look up and you watch you pay attention to the dudes on YouTube who are like, Dreams is an incredible tool. However, it's if you can make something in anything else, you'd be better off doing that. Like, you listen to those people.
I actually agree with you, but I've got to say that I think there's a lot of people that are turned off by the computer human interface. I think creative people, the tools are important to them, but I think there's a lot of people out there that are just like, well, I don't think I can edit because I opened an edit program and went, oh, there's a lot of buttons to push. Or, I didn't want to do sculpting because I went into ZBrush and went, oh, there's all this stuff to learn. The immediacy. And and I actually agree with what you're saying, which is like, just let's get this out there. Let's change the world with this. And I couldn't agree with you more. And I think on a whiteboard, there's definitely PC port written there somewhere, but it does fragment. It's more about culture than it is about accessibility. If you want Dreams, you can get it tomorrow for $30 or whatever, and get an old PS4 from someone who's probably got. That's incredible still that you can use a machine from nearly 10 years ago.
Change
and
it.
see, we haven't.
It's going to change everything.
We haven't been able to go through the whole pitch that I made for the PC port, but I'll sum it up for you. When I say PC, I don't mean that it remains part of the Dreamiverse. I mean that it becomes a licensed free piece of software like Blender. It's just Dreams. So it's not. It wouldn't be, like we're accepting the whole PC culture onto Dreams. Nah, no thanks. I don't want that. But
then maybe can they just leave it with us for a couple more years until we all get in the groove, and then we can unleash it on the world when we've all get our stuff. But I think we still need that incubation period.
Yeah, I personally don't think this. I don't think this would happen. I don't think this would happen inside of the next 5 years. I don't think this is anywhere close.
If they're doing it, if they are going to do it, it's going to be right at the end of the life cycle for Dreams. It's
Yeah.
not going to be anytime soon.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think we are going to see a lot of Dreams influence on PC before that happens. We are seeing it right
Sure.
now.
They'll
I
try.
think I've
They'll try.
seen a sculpting program that has popped up some weeks and months ago, which is basically like Dream sculpting, but with polygons, with strange kinds of fields.
Wasn't
I
it
don't
ZBrush
understand.
that made
Was
that
that
recent update?
Something like this, or some
it
standalone
was.
thing, and I think that's something that was inspired by Dreams, and there will be
Good.
more
Absolutely.
things.
That's how you know you're winning.
And before,
Yeah, and also it's still not Dreams.
yes,
Right.
I mean, I just play Dreams on remote play,
It's
so I
just
already
it's
have
just
PC.
something from Dreams, whereas Dreams is
Same
such a
pizza.
But I agree. You're seeing voxel sculpting now, and that's becoming the new hotness. Is the sort of the same
Yeah.
sort of things that we're used to. But again, I think that's great because that's what people should know. If anything, they'll go, "This is great," but then, as you said before, I've got to take it into another program to do something else with it, to rig it, to bring it in, to render it, and marmoset, and do this. Or you could just use Dreams.
Where it's all there.
And still, for me personally, and my love of the possibility of a PC port, if they decided, I'd abandon the whole thing, the whole idea, if they were just like, you can use your Wacom now on PS4. If they did that, I'd completely abandon the whole idea.
Oh, now we know the true
I would.
motivation.
No, I've said this. I've said this.
Peripheral.
No, I've
Just
said
order
this.
Wacom.
I've said this. I've said this before, and this is part of the only thing that, I mean, we're going to get into the updates that are coming because I think everybody knows about the stuff they've been putting up on their Trello as recently.
Yeah.
Oh,
actually
well,
haven't.
they got some sexy things coming.
You
Yeah,
are
Yeah.
in for a surprise.
but
gotta
but,
say it
logic
was
there.
about time.
but yeah, I am
Yeah.
I'm a huge proponent of peripherals, and I believe that certain people work with certain things better than others. So if I cannot control the Fleck with the controls I have, not to the extent that I want. And as a person who's a line artist and really, really particular about my lines, I know where I feel the most comfortable and what control I need to do it, and that is with a Wacom. It's
I've always
whether
thought
or
it
not
needed some way of smoothing what you do.
certain programs do it. Some of them let you be ugly. You'll be like, what's wrong with my hand? But that was not what I thought I did.
I don't
But
mean
I
this.
think
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
it's part of Dreams' nature. I mean, in its core,
Yeah.
Dreams is a digital tool, a
different.
digital art tool, and you have to take it as it is. You don't expect a pencil to brush like a paintbrush, or you don't expect anything else to work like any other art tool. So if you embrace what Dreams is, then you can get the most out of it, I think.
Yeah, but I do believe
Yeah.
that there's also something to be said for, just
Well,
because
it
something.
was
I mean,
like
I was completely happy and am completely happy with what Dreams is right now. But what
Yeah.
you're saying, but I feel like the next step of that statement is, but it doesn't need to improve.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
It's
come,
not
I mean,
about
come on.
improving or not.
I
It's
mean,
just like it's
but-
not for
but
you
it-
right
but
now.
it- but it-
It's for people who haven't mastered
But it is
necessarily
about
pen and paper,
improving.
pencil and paper.
I
I
think,
mean,
Yeah,
that's
it's-
why
it's
there's a
more.
Trello. It's not necessarily improvement as much as it is, I guess. What do they call it? Quality of life changes.
It sounds like you just
Yeah.
need to use your
So
Wacom
if it's
tablet on the
so
computer.
if it's quality of life changes, and I do, but that's not
You
to
know,
say that I'm at
some things
fault.
shouldn't do
But that's
everything,
but that's
you know?
not to say I'm at fault for hoping
You're
Yeah.
right. No, of
I
course
mean,
not. You're not.
wait,
Of
you
course
say that, but then you also say, well, maybe you should just take your ass to the computer. Like, so it's just,
I'm just
so-
throwing the sass
so it's-
back. I'm just
so
throwing the
it-
sass
no,
back.
no, but all I'm saying is like things are quality. Like there are such things as quality of life changes, and yeah, to sit there and say I can't use my Wacom Dream sucks. That's not what I'm
Yeah,
saying. That's not what I'm saying. But
I
at
know,
the
I
same
know.
time, it's like when you click to use the Fleck, there is a pencil option. So they know that there's different modes at which
You just
people
got to get better
use
with
the
your
Fleck.
motion controllers.
And you know what? I am waiting for the PSVR 2 because because I really have high hopes for it, and I hope that I can get better with it, and I will try my damnedest. The moves as of now, they just don't work well for me. I don't know if I have a busted pair or what, but we've talked about that many times. I've tried so hard to get the moves to work, and they just won't. I've done different lighting setups. I've gotten a new camera. I've done everything. But for right now, like I said, I just have something that I know works with lines the way I want, something that I want to work with lines the way I want, and we'll see if it gets there. If it doesn't, there's many other things I can do.
I see your point. I think the best way to round it up is obviously Dreams is still in its infancy at the minute. We're still growing. People are still learning. We're trying to get more creators onto the platform. And there's no easier way to introduce someone to Dreams where it does so much by giving them the least amount of hardware tools needed to create it. The fact that you can buy Dreams and you don't need any extra peripherals, you don't need to go buy a Wacom, you don't need to go buy a Magic Pencil, you just use the controller that came with the console to create absolutely everything. Moves is completely optional. I think that's what makes Dreams so intriguing and so inviting to first comers, because they don't need to have a huge investment. It's just the console if they already own it and the game. But I think within the next 3 or 4 years, once the player base is sort of leveled off and they're like, okay, this is our main priority player base now, we're going to still continue to grow, but this is the core of what Dreams is now. Now we can start to introduce third-party peripherals, because they've grown to a point where we're at a stable rate with players. Then that'd be different. But I think for right now, because Dreams is so young, give them what they need and nothing more, and let them crack on with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And also got to understand that every feature they add is a feature that has to be bug fixed, managed it there. And you've seen with the Trello how forward looking they are with stuff. But yeah, every time they even change an icon, it can upset a lot of stuff. And and it's an incredibly stable. I've never had it crash out on me, no matter what I've thrown at it. It's stunning. Whereas Maya crashes every 15 seconds.
Yes.
But
yeah, they're not.
That's a really good point you're making with the. No, I mean, this is the thing is that I'm a tablet user. I haven't used a mouse in 20 years, but I wish I could use DS4 to work on the computer in a way, because I actually prefer that interface, not necessarily for drawing, but for almost everything else, including managing the three-dimensional space and everything, because you can be there all day on your tablet. Again, I think Dreams is a niche product for niche people, and they're going to be people that want to use certain input methods. You see people like Martin using the move controllers like a total pro and just building things in minutes, just and there's other people like, say, Ledbetter, that do these incredible paintings using just the DualShock. So I think everyone, again, finds their way of working. I mean, I know there's people that want MIDI keyboard connectivity. We want... I'd love to have just a box.
I mean, they already have that.
That would be fire. Already have what?
Well, no, they actually
the MIDI
do.
keyboard.
It's clunky.
Wait,
they've got like a MIDI.
sort of.
Yeah, that you can actually, if you put in a USB wireless keyboard, it will work by default as a musical QWERTY keyboard.
We do have actual MIDI though. It's called MIDI to OSD, but it's not perfect. I've used it in the past for keyboard.
The lag with that.
When you start
it's
playing,
quite laggy.
When you start playing technical notes, it just does not record it properly. I would love that to be a real feature in the future, where you don't need to do it over the internet, where you literally just plug it into the USB so it's localized. But again, it's not needed though. You don't need it.
Yeah, you don't need it.
Yeah,
you don't need it, but it would be nice, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it?
No, you want ray tracing, you don't need a graphics card.
Look, what I really want is I want to be able to take out the inside of the PS5, put in my own graphics card to up the graphics. No, I'm just...
Never.
Oh, boy.
No, like I tell people, it's amazing. And after that whole conversation, because I just love talking about random stuff, but like dreams as it stands right now, 0 changes, no peripheral adding, nothing, is, as I stated a few episodes ago, this game, if the world can find any chance of being fair for 10 seconds, this game, by the time this generation is done, Dreams should be known as the greatest thing that has ever come out on anything.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And
It's
if
gonna change everything.
and if it doesn't get there, once again, I'm just gonna be a little salty. It's just gonna be me in the corner being like, y'all know
not
that
just gonna
joint
be
was
you.
dope. But yeah, but I really do believe it will go down in history. Like, this should be the game of the generation that nobody is, or we know, some of us know, but you know, at the end, it should just be clear to people, because it was clear to me day one.
It will
Yeah,
be.
same.
It
This
will
is
be.
why it's so important. Sorry, guys. This is
No,
why it's
no,
so
no, go on.
important that as a community, we're really, as I said, we are becoming a family without meaning to. We're getting incredibly close to this moment where we will be the reason that everyone knows about Dreams. And this is why it's actually our job, not just MM's. Even what you're doing here, Mighty, with all this sort of stuff too, the amount of energy that goes with the community from everyone to drive Dreams forward, that's how we'll push it into the sort of public consciousness, so to speak. Because when you start seeing that first amazing experience that's come out, that third one, that 10th one, you start seeing that people are making music videos, short films, games, like not just interactive products, but other things that can be done, installation work, short films, anything, 3D printing. I mean, you know, this is the thing, is it's got so many ways to explain to people why it's great. It's an impossible thing to describe in a sentence, but you can talk about it all day. And that's why when you do get someone in front of it, if they've got a creative mind, they just go, whoa, how do I get this? You know, what button do I push to get this? And it's amazing. I mean, I'd literally think we should just do a big Kickstarter where we just get $1 million and just buy everyone a copy, you know? But
I
think,
agree.
I love that. But yeah,
I know a lot of people that would.
Oh,
take
looks like
that.
we're all in agreement.
Yeah.
All right.
Because
Coming out
that's
next
what
week, guys.
that's what it is about the
Yeah.
community. We start from different places. We may argue a little bit, and it's all in fun, but we all come together at the end, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I just say that there is one thing that I'm actually salty at Dreams about. Okay?
Ooh.
Okay? Here we go.
Dish.
Here we go.
What is
Here
it?
we go. I'm salty that Dreams didn't come out when I was 4. Okay? That's no. No, I'm just
Yeah.
playing, but when it comes, like, sometimes I do sit back and think where it's just like, I was sitting there playing with an erector set. Like, I had Legos, and then can you imagine being a kid and having this
that's
game
why
in front of
Dreams is
you?
awesome.
Yeah,
if I
it
had
is. It
Dreams
is.
Instead of Little Big Planet, that would have been awesome.
It's just the world wasn't ready.
Yeah.
The world
Yeah, it
needs
wasn't
time to
ready.
catch up.
Which is why
Without the internet and the way that we all work now, and
it's
multiplayer,
a joke.
Yeah.
It's a joke. But I
Oh, no,
I have
it's
had the thought where it's like,
I mean,
can you imagine
just
if I was a kid and I had something like this? And that's why I think it's a crime. If anybody has children and they in a PlayStation, because I ain't gonna tell you to go out and just buy one. No, I'm just playing. I gotta do it, Lise. I love you.
Buy a
I love you.
PlayStation.
But
They
if
just buy a
if you
PlayStation.
have kids, and you have a PlayStation in your house, if you don't have Dreams and they aren't playing it, you're doing them a disservice, in my opinion. It
They'll
is.
ask for it.
It is so much. See, but we ain't gonna get into that.
They don't know about it.
Yeah, if they don't know about it, they ain't
Doesn't
gonna
it make you
do it.
feel like a kid now? I find Dreams makes me feel like it did back then.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, no.
I haven't
Yeah.
been
It-
this engaged in my ideas since then.
Yeah, it's merely because of time that I
Mighty
even
hates
think
being
about
old.
it. I don't. I love being old because a lot of people
Okay.
ain't make it this far, and that's just being real about
That's
it. So let's not get it twisted. But like, my thing is that there is such a thing as basically time priority when you get older, and it's like.
Yeah.
You know, if I remember when all those days where I was sitting back drawing and, didn't have to do anything for a whole day. So I was just sitting there looking out the window, just drawing, doing it, coming up with characters, comics, locations, doing all that stuff. I don't have time because I don't do that for a living. So it's like, if I had that time and Dreams, I mean, Dream still does make me remember those days. That's why I play it. But like, I mean, I want to create things too. But you know, it's why I opened up more to collaboration, because I don't have time to learn everything I need to learn to be able to put out what I want to put out. It would just be faster to have someone who does and that sees a project eye to eye with me, which is important in collaborating with people who buy into the scope and the vision of the project, and not just people that are just like, you know, whether, you know, we talked about being paid in dreams and stuff like that. Some people just throw it out there for money within the community, and no hate against you, but somebody who's like down for the long haul, I feel, is always going to be better. Someone who just actually loves the project as much as you do. But you can't always say beggars can't be choosers. Beggars can't be choosers. We take what we get.
That's an interesting thing you just said about like not having the time to do every little piece of a project and kind of needing to do collaboration for that. That's kind of something that I wonder about Dreams sometimes, with like how we have kind of there's Dreams players as a whole, and then there's this Dreams community that's kind of, it's like sort of insulated. Like, because if you're on Twitch, if you're on Twitter, if you're in all these outside of Dreams places, then you know all kinds of people that you can have ways to communicate with them very easily, to find people to collaborate with you, and you know, like you look at the chat of any Twitch and you know all these names, you know what they've made. And like someone who's just playing Dreams just by themselves, if they don't have those outside sources, that can be a point of contention for them, of looking at it and going, well, I can't do all of this stuff. And like, they may see the collab button, but they might not really know what to do with it or how to get someone to do that with them.
And that's why we focus so much, even in our episode, where we, you know, you were talking about, you started out a lot like me, where it's like, I'll just do it all myself. And then I realized like how slow that was going to be. And I still did it by myself, but it kind of separated. It was before I knew about the Dreams community. I was locked away working on my dream project for the first 8 months. Dreams was out. And I missed like all the first award shows. I missed everything. I didn't know there was a community, because I was just so locked in to like, okay, I got the tools, time for me to create what I wanted to create. And I would say the balance to that is what we focus on in the podcast, which is, you know, I tell everybody, if you're on Dreams and you're not on Twitter, you're doing it wrong. You need to be on Twitter.
Because you've got to strike up relationships and friendships. You can't just collaborate with someone cold. I mean, you can, but you need to you need to be on the same level at some point. So I think being able to have a few chats, see what they're like, then, you know, sheepishly ask, do you want to work on something together? That's in the professional world too. You don't just walk up to someone and go, let's do something great, because quite often that will be a disaster. So I think you're right. It's missing from Dreams, but you have to go and cultivate those sort of connections yourself.
I just, even like the other day, I was trying to figure out how to do my scarecrow for the Halloween thing, and I realized, looking in game, I couldn't find a single place in game that told me the rules, even as simple as like the thermo. I couldn't find anything in game that told me where to find the rules. And I don't know, I feel like we sometimes take some of that for granted, because all of us know. Everyone on Twitch, we all know. Everyone on Twitter, we all know. We're like literally in communication with the devs sometimes, like on
That's
Twitter and
molecule.
here.
Yeah.
But in game, like you look through the scarecrow submissions right now, and there's so many that break the rules. And I'm like, well, how can I blame them? They might not even know what the rules. They might not even know there are rules. They just have a template that doesn't even have the rules in it, you know?
Yeah,
That's concern. Sorry, go on.
There's certainly room for improvement on that side, I guess. And there's this phenomenon around Twitter where this core community has created a bubble, and somehow I often feel other communities on Reddit or on Dreams itself, on the PlayStation itself, are too separated and too neglected by Media Molecule themselves. They are now improving on other social media platforms, but it's, I think, mostly TikTok and Twitter now. But yeah, that could be more done to draw in a greater range of community to this.
See, like right now, it's not so much of an issue because, as you said, like we're quite a closed off bubble, and everybody who plays streams knows that you're quite everything's on Twitter and everything's on Twitch. 98% of people that actually actively use Dreams knows where to go to get this content. But going in the future, when Dreams grows and we get this massive influx of players and creators, that's where it's going to become an issue because these people are not going to necessarily know that Media Molecule is still open to the community, where you can just tweet them on Twitter and you're going to get a response. So I think when it comes to that point where we've got thousands and thousands and thousands of players coming into Dreams, that's where the companion app is going to be extremely beneficial. For something like what Kataya said, where you can't find the rules and stuff, like if you had the Dreams app, when you go into like the Scarecrow template, it would pop a notification on your phone, here's the rules. Like things like that would really work well for when we do grow to a much larger community base where it's going to come to a point where Media Molecule can't actively socialize with everybody on social media because it will eventually come to that point where it's just impossible. As of right now, it's easily manageable because we're such a small spaced community. But once we start getting into the 20, 30,000s, they're just not going to be able to respond to everything. So I think that's where a companion app is going to become absolutely essential to keep that communication barrier there without actually communicating one-to-one.
It's so weird.
Hopefully
That
this
was
is something they'll improve on and not be like something that we're seeing now and is going to continue to be a problem. It's like, oh, there it is. It's never going to go away. I think they'll improve on it. I think there's a strong possibility they'll improve on it, especially since they've shown that they're willing to hire people who have these positions that really change the way Dreams feels and how we experience it. So I have hope, but
Well,
you
yeah,
know,
I have
could
full
go either
faith
way.
in
Yeah.
I don't have faith in any game developer other than Media Molecule purely just because of the relationship that Media Molecule have with their actual players. If anyone's going to be able to pull off keeping that communication open with hundreds of thousands of players, Media Molecule is the one that's going to do it.
Yeah.
I agree.
a companion app is the first thing I looked for before I got Twitter because I
There you
saw
go.
the indreams.me and I thought that was like the name of an app. And I definitely didn't want no social media.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is the future for Dreams in regards to communication. Like, just pop-ups come up on your phone notifications. Oh, hey, you're in this section of Dreams. Here's 70,000 tutorials. Or you're doing this jam. Here is the rules. I think it's just a way of them actively communicating with everybody without doing anything. Because it's going to come to that point eventually. If Dreams is a huge success and we have 1 million players, they're just not going to be able to communicate with everybody on a daily basis. That's why we see all these
Well,
other
also
huge studios that
well,
just
there's
can't
new
communicate.
social things too. Yeah, there's new social platforms. Like I didn't even notice there's a huge Instagram community and Dreams that I never knew. Not that I'm on Instagram, but I was like, wow, there's all these other creators I've never heard of, just because they're in their walled garden as well. So I guess it's hard for MM to bring all these different external
Exactly.
platforms together. But I agree with you that they've already, I think, got a lot of job positions in the last few months for those back end people.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
think they're actually starting to think about, look at just what
Yeah.
they've done in the last year with the new teams they built. They know
Exactly.
that's coming. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a community focused app
Yeah.
anyway, so it's got to be about
That's it.
community.
The only way for them to pull it off is to pull it all in house. So they have to have their own app because you've got your Twitter groups, you've got your Facebook groups, you've got your Instagrams and your Twitch community.
Yep.
It's impossible to manage it all. So they have to bring it all in house and have their own app. And they say, well, if you have Dreams, you sign into the Dreams app with your PSN account, and this is where everything is from now on. It's the only way to manage it.
I
Also,
think
that's a
there's
great way
something
to
to be
keep the
said. Go ahead.
ecosystem very kid friendly too. Just saying that's a good way to keep it clean.
That's true.
The
That's a
community
great
nice
point.
and
Yeah, I was just gonna say that like I think there's something to be said about the variety of like, I don't think this is what's gonna happen or anything like that, but I did like think about like Monopoly or something where it's like if all of the no, but like if all of the socializing is happening only in one place, then maybe that's disallowing certain interaction and certain promotion that could happen outside of that platform. But again, it's a
That's fair
minor
enough.
thing.
Well,
It's a minor.
it's not stopping you though from,
Right.
if there was an In Dreams app where everything was socialized in a central place, that doesn't mean to say that you can't post anything on Twitter and the
Yeah.
other communities can still grow and prosper. It's just that from a media molecule's perspective, for support and for updates and things and for communication within the game, it's all
So great.
centralized to the one app, and you still have the
Mm.
ability to grow these other platforms. They're not going to go away. Social media is one of the biggest things to happen to our civilization. So they'll
Right.
still continue to grow, but from a media molecule perspective, all that support and communication is based within one proprietary app.
Yeah. Makes sense.
I agree.
Cool.
So media molecule, if you're listening, hire me. I can't build an app, but I can explain it to you. It's all right.
I can explain it. This is the app you want to
producer.
make.
Yeah, this is what you need, okay?
So, I guess for those, is there an update coming to Dreams that I guess each of you are super excited about from what's
Oh.
on the Trello? Like,
All
do
the
you
paint
have?
stuff.
Yes.
I'm excited
I'm about
about
to look up
every
the trailer
little
right now. I
thing.
don't know
All
what's
of
going
it.
on.
I
Okay,
guess
Anything
now
that's a
everybody-
creator
Everybody
edition
was
is
just
awesome.
instantly started talking like, yeah, blah,
Just imagine what tomorrow is going to be when we have like
Me too.
50 people at the same time. It's going to be a wild place. But like for me, yeah, like the idea of turning sculpts into paint.
I knew that would be your one
Oh,
go-to
what?
feature. Yeah.
Dude.
That's
Yeah.
my
It's a
I
that's
good
don't
my
think
feature.
people
thing.
quite
Let 'em
understand what
have
it
it.
is, though. The description is kind of slightly nebulous. I think everyone's having it; they're not quite sure what it is.
Yeah.
But if it's
I mean,
what I think it is, it's
Bake
going to
to
completely change texturing.
Yeah.
Yeah, bake to
And-
paint.
That's the thing. From what it sounds like, it's like they're giving me that thing I always wanted. That like one of my first things I talked about was how like people can paint like circles and then delete the sculpt out of it, and but it never turns out like as clean as I want it, except for this one bubble that you have to do with trickery that I think Martin Nebelong made. And it's like it works.
Sounds
It
about
creates
right.
a clear
Trickery,
bu-
like it's
it-
magic.
It is.
It's
It-
not.
it-
No,
it
it's not.
literally-
It's not going to be transparency.
But that's the thing. That's how they can get away or get around it for me, is that if you can turn it to paint, then you have the opacity slider, and that
But it's
automatically.
not paint.
But it
That's
is.
Fleck you're thinking of.
No, if it's turning a sculpt into paint, then literally you take the sculpt and then you can have a clean circle or orb of paint that isn't like some jaggies are going off sideways and it's not
It's
doing
still
crazy
working like
Yeah, it
Flex,
would-
so
Yes.
Well, it
yes.
would also have a material slider too, right?
We're
you
also
could
gonna
make it
have the new
metallic
Fleck.
and
Yeah.
reflective.
So and the
That'd
oh
be
yeah,
incredible.
Kataya. Yeah. The new Fleck, the solid square Fleck. Instead of stamping a bunch of times in one space, become solid.
Literally, that
Damn
little
you!
square Fleck is going to change everything.
cool
Hey.
thing about every little change is that you already envision how they work together and what you can make and work together with all the things that are already there. So every little ingredient is in exponential growth in variety of chances of creation you can have, and that's so amazing. Even this list of tiny changes would seem like yeah, that's nice, like, oh, an opaque flag. But to every creator it's like, oh, a new universe arrives. It's
Yes.
Yeah, it is amazing what one tiny thing can do to Dreams. Like that one feature, like the solid Fleck or sculpt to paint, like to someone else, you'd be like, okay, so you got one new feature, cool. And then the rest of the Dreamiverse is like, no, this changes everything. Like everything you're going to see that I make from now on is going to be completely different because of this one tiny update that they've did. And that's just so beautiful, and the power of Dreams. Like these small tiny changes. The dreamers will take that and make something so big out of it. It's amazing, and it's going to be incredible. This update is going to change Dreams wildly. I can't
Yeah.
wait to see all the stuff people
Yeah.
do.
Just
You
a
can't
solid.
avoid it.
Also, it seems like
You're
it's the
gonna notice.
start of a kind of a different level of changes for Dreams. When you look through Trello, you can see it's now getting a lot more advanced. They're not just bug fixing; they're starting to add major functionality. And I think Carson's exactly spot on there. Is that as soon as I mean, what other program, whatever that you add a single pixel to, and everyone loses their mind. And that's, as you're right, because it all clicks in together. It's just a big toolkit at the end of the day. So, I mean, as soon as they add a new sound or a new feature, everyone's mixes it with the other 1,000 things we've learned, and we get an exponential growth of ideas coming out of that. As long as they just keep those little updates happening for us, I can't see how we'd ever get bored or ever catch up to it. In fact, I don't think we'll ever see a dreamer or anyone actually ever max this out, because it's constantly evolving along with your own ideas.
Well, Bad Robo is close to maxing Dreams out, let's be fair.
Oh, dude, I know.
Dude,
Close.
insane.
He's close.
Maybe.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Insane.
But
Mm.
yeah.
Well, no,
I
but
mean,
this is the thing: is there's reality people, and there's stylistic people, and there's
Yeah.
technical people, and there's
Yeah.
you know. So I think that's this again. Another thing that we all keep loving about this program is that it sort of it accommodates anyone. It can accommodate. I love seeing a single amazing image, but I also love seeing sort of lo-fi stuff where they've done a lot of logic and stuff as well. Yeah, Robo's awesome, but that's the thing, is that I think everything's falling into their own little, as I said, their grooves. And that's what's becoming quite exciting, because you're like, okay, well, where's he going to go with that? And now he's developing games with other people as a collaborator. And he's probably would have said, I wouldn't have collaborated with anyone until I realized how important that is to unlocking your own future creativity.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. People are starting to learn where they fit in the Dreamverse, especially with their artistic style. Like when Dreams initially came out, everyone was just trying to go for the ultra realistic, AAA super graphics mode, RTX on, But now people are sort of moving into their own groove. We've got that. I can't remember his name, but there's someone that's making that really nice, like 2D posterized style. It's like super unique.
Yeah.
Looks really, really nice. And there's other people that's going for the cartoony style, like Venwave. He goes like with a very cartoonish, childish look with everything that he does. And people are starting to stick in these grooves. So like from the future now, we're going to see an update from X person. You're like, okay, that's really interesting. Can't wait for it to come out, because I know what style he makes or she makes. And going on, we're going to have all that come out, and it's so cool to see that people are just fitting into their place in the Dreamverse, and there's so much diversity to what people create, and yeah, I just love it.
Yeah, there's no prejudice to what you create, which I really like. It doesn't matter if you're doing something small or huge. You can still respect it on the level that it's been made at all, that someone actually bothered to put their idea out there. And that's what constantly inspires me, is just that people can do that rather than what it is, It's the attitude and spirit behind creativity rather than actually what they create. And you're seeing that in a lot of people. It's just such a happy place for people to make things that it's almost like a double happiness even getting it out there. I saw a tweet from yonks ago that said, even if I never see any of this turn onto the Dreamverse, it doesn't matter, because this wouldn't have existed until we gave you this tool. And that's an awesome thing. We can consider it like Photoshop or something else, where it is just a tool for making great stuff in. But it really, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Whatever someone wants to do in Dreams, just being a dreamer is the achievement in a way. These people may have never made anything. I never even sculpted a head until a year ago in Dreams, and now I love it, and I find it really natural and fun to do. But I would never have ever considered doing that. I just wouldn't have thought that's something I could have done. And now it's just one of your, No, but there's a lot of people that, we've even got someone in this very podcast that says you've only been doing music for a year. And this is the thing, is that Dreams is very good at identifying what you're probably good at, and then giving you the capability to try and grow those skills out.
I don't know.
Dreams itself does that though as well. Like, it tells you what you're starting to get good at. Like, when you level up and stuff, it says, oh, like you've tried this, but this is the main thing that you've been dabbling in. Like, it literally gives you a visualization of, this is the thing you're doing the best at right now. Do you want to continue doing that? I think that's really cool as well. For when you're beginning, it sort of shows you your progress in all the different elements of Dreams, and it gives you that identification of, okay, well, this is what I'm good at right now. I'm going to continue doing that and grow that bar. I think it's quite a very unique feature of Dreams that really helps you to grow as a person in the Dreamverse.
No, I'm gonna need clarification.
That's good, but it would be not.
No, I need clarification. We're stopping this conversation right now. Wait, you said that you hadn't done heads in anything? In anything, or
No,
just
I mean,
in
I've
dreams?
worked professionally. No, look, I've used professional tools. Like I have a job, but
I have a job.
yeah, well,
Oh,
I
what?
work
Yeah.
with
I'm a
I work with digital
professional
stuff.
outside of
but-
Dreams too, you know.
Yeah, I've got my own car keys and everything.
I'm an adult. Damn it.
I've used all the tools that we've talked about and all the traditional tools, and I have a sort of not a hatred for them, but I don't like the idea of drop down menus. I've been using these tools since I was a kid, and that was a long time ago, and they have not really changed fundamentally. They're still the same programs that I was using 25, 30 years ago. That's actually true. Maya, After Effects, they're all completely the same as they ever were. Photoshop, exactly the same as they were 30 years ago. So to have something like Dreams appear and allow me to get instant access to what's in my head and get it out before spending time in software where by the time I thought of what I want to do, I'm like, what am I doing? UV unwrapping now? I'm bored now. The idea just dies. It dies on the vine. Whereas with Dreams, it doesn't die on the vine. You can quickly just rotate the camera around and start making a piece of music if it hits you, or start sculpting something. And the head sculpts came from wanting to learn more about the tools and get very excited watching Kareem's videos as Dreams was getting ready for release and going, oh, what's this tool where everything swells out and morphs? Why don't I have those tools and thousands of dollars worth of software? And then when I got them, the first week, I was so frustrated with the sculpting tools because I'm like, why isn't it doing it like Kareem does it? Why aren't I getting this and that? And it just wasn't.
Kareem
I was just
beat
rushing into it
Kareem.
with the. Oh, dude, that guy was, and that's the thing. I don't. This is the thing is seeing that lead up to Dreams. I got very excited, but when I actually got the tools, I got kind of despondent and went, "Oh, this isn't working for me." And then a week later, it clicked, and I just went, oh, "This is incredible." And now it's hard to go back to working with the old tools. It's kind of screwed that up a bit for me because I've realized how little they have done to innovate for the creative, for the designer, not just for the technical person. But the heads thing, that is just fun, and I just found it was something that I enjoyed doing. Never ever sculpted a thing in my life like that. But it's because Dreams tools allow the way it lets you sculpt. It's just so organic and it's so different that it makes you almost automatically learn about anatomy, and automatically your brain just starts going, that bone structure should be there without being told, without looking at an image. I've never looked at a picture while I'm sculpting or even referenced anything while I'm sculpting or building any environment. You just start putting things down. You just literally start by starting. You don't plan too much. You can just start. Whereas with all the other software, if you don't plan, you just will hit a wall within hours and get frustrated and not come back to something.
Yeah.
I mean, asset creation is actually the reason most people don't make a game. Everyone's got an idea for a game. Everyone can write some code. Everyone can grab a piece of software. But making up the people, the art assets, the environments, the music, that's what makes a game studio, is all the stuff that needs to get, copy that needs to be written, voiceovers that need to be recorded. That's what stops the independent developer or the small team, because you need all these moving parts. And Dreams brings it all together so you can be the conductor of this machine. And that, to me, is what opened it up. That's why I do all these environment things, building a huge game now. And it's coming to life. The world is, there's now things moving in the scenes, and you can move the camera, and it's like having a film studio. And I think that's what gives you access to going, I never thought I could have done this. Now it's my most favorite thing to do ever. I'm more proud of the things I've done in the last few months that no one's seen than I've ever done in my career. And I mean that. And I've done some fun things, but Dreams is a completely different headspace. Even if you never upload one thing, I've had the most fun I've ever had. And I think we've still got at least a few years of this awesome ride we're going through where you will never learn everything. You will never meet every creator. You will never see every dream. And that's the whole culture around it is what makes it so special.
And it's one other special thing about Dreams is how it's uncharted. You are part of a community that discovered this tool for the first time. Where can you have this kind of experience in the modern world where there's something new and you are part of it, discovering it in real time, and you might find out a neat trick and put it on Twitter, and everybody is like, wow, that is a thing, let me try that too. Oh, I found that. And that is such an unique experience for the community too.
Absolutely.
That's an excellent way of putting it.
Yeah.
It's like the growing pains without the pain.
That's right. especially this year where we've all needed something else to just, lift
Oh
our
god,
spirits.
yeah. I think COVID has done dreams a ton of good. I really
Yay,
do.
COVID.
Dreams has done exactly.
I really do.
I
And
think again, because the world's contracted, I think we've all, anyone that was in the community already has gone, oh, thank God we're all in here together,
Yeah, MC Alchemist had asked that earlier, whether or not we thought it had helped dreams, and I definitely think it did.
Oh, absolutely.
huge impact on dreams. Huge impact.
So,
And I
Helped
think it
me.
also
One thing
helped
Or
to bring
dreams helped me
people.
during COVID. That's for sure.
I think dreams really dreams. I think COVID also encouraged dreamers as well to be more communicative with each other than they necessarily were. Like dreams was very communicative anyway, but still you would have had a lot of people that was very shy in the dreamiverse and didn't like communicating and whatnot. And I think with COVID being what it was and everyone was stuck indoors and oh well, I'll just boot up dreams. I think it really made everybody be more collaborative and more communicative together because you had so much free time, you had so much ability to do this now. So I think it did dreams a ton of good, and the people in it.
I think it did. I think, well, dude, the whole thing is that I think this thing that's happened to us all in the last couple of years has actually made everyone look at their own self a lot more. I think everyone has gone, well, I never really thought about myself this much because you have time to. And I think that's connected with dreams really in a really interesting way because everyone's gone, I think I want to do the thing I want to do now. I think I want to create the thing I was thinking of this whole time. And it's given us time to think about maybe that's a reality. So I've found that Headspace is very compatible with dreams because you've seen a lot of new people come into the community recently and they're like, oh, what's in here? Oh, this is already cool. And I think it's because people have got in touch with their own creativity. I believe everybody is creative. Everyone's got something they're good at like that. So yeah, let's get dreams into as many hands as possible over this time, I think.
I definitely agree. I mean, I can't wait for even more people to come in. Like, I mean, a lot of people asked me, and I got DMs because I, brought the filmmakers into the podcast. Two of my favorite filmmakers that are brothers, Nelms. And it's because, like, I want everyone to know about this. I want more people, more spokespeople for dreams, for them to be talking with a friend and be like, hey, I went on this podcast and they were showing me stuff that these people are making on a video game console. I only play Call of Duty. I feel like it's a waste of time now, stuff like that. Like I want those people to come out. Or if you see things like I always bring this guy up. I've yet to be able to get in like actual contact with him, but on YouTube is Gianni Turismo.
Oh yeah, that guy's crazy.
He's
with
awesome.
Real life stuff and where
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah,
where he does a lot of the compositing work, and it's like he has like this whole thing set up where he like goes through his sketchbook showing all of like his alien ship designs, and then he flips to him actually compositing it into real shots, like real film. And just that's like one of the things that intrigues me the most. And, I want to start playing around with, but I got a few other projects before I start talking like that. I got to finish one of these other projects before I start talking about that. But yeah, like I love to see all of the people that work that still really like they're in the Dreamiverse, but they don't let themselves be known really. Just like on Instagram, there's Powder Obscura, and he does a bunch of like, just basically a bunch of films, and he has another account for photography, and he's constantly, or he or she, I don't know, is working constantly with people outside of dreams. And I talked to them the other night and they were like, yeah, I don't really work within the Dreamiverse and I don't really release anything. I just do stuff outside of dreams with dreams. And I'm like,
awesome.
That's amazing. And I really want to see more of that. Like I want to randomly run across not just people playing dreams like on YouTube, but people being like, hey, I did this with dreams. And it makes it, and like,
I think that's a brilliant part of it.
Yeah. And people, I watch Corridor Digital a lot and have followed that team for a really long time. And, and I've been trying for like the last probably 6 months, trying to just be like, hey guys, can you try dreams, please? Because they always do stuff and they use everything else.
That would actually be awesome if I could see them take a look at it.
That'd
Yeah.
be incredible.
And I'm just like,
Yeah.
and they always talk about the problems that they do have with certain things. Now, of course, they do more than just, than their normal film work and stuff like that. They do a bunch of stuff. But when they were doing the thing that Martin actually put out, well, he joined in on it because I think he has the same idea I do. But when they were all trying to recreate a Bob Ross painting, but they were trying to do it within their game engines or their, effects engines. And I was like, God damn it, why can't someone in their team just be like, oh, for this challenge, I'm going to use Dreams. Like, it would have done
That'll
so
come.
much. And I mean, I'm sure it will, because like I said, the more people create, the more these big projects that we don't know are being worked on, but are, when Scott decides to come into the game finally and just be like, yo, I finished this, that's going to, then Corridor Digital is going to be like, oh, what's that? But yeah, it's like we're all working towards it, but there's so many instances where it's just like, man, I wish they knew. I just really wish they knew. And Grant Abbott on YouTube.
Someone on Twitter, actually, I can't remember, and I wish I would have remembered who it was now, but someone has took all their artwork on Dreams, and they've made a children's book. Like, they made all of the artwork in Dreams, and now they've published it with Lulu, and you can buy the book now that was completely made in Dreams.
Yeah.
It's just so
that's
incredible to see
can
these
get your
people
photo.
using Dreams for a completely different thing altogether, like taking it out of the Dreamiverse and making something completely different with it. And that's so awesome to see, like, a book made in Dreams. Like, who would have thought someone would have made a book in Dreams? It's just so cool.
It creates opportunities
so much
that people wouldn't
experimentation.
have otherwise had to access certain industries, right? How could somebody get themselves out there in a certain industry if they don't have, like S was talking about earlier, with all these tools that take a lot of learning, that you have to buy freaking textbooks for, take classes to learn, right? And now somebody can say, hey, look, I can make cool stuff. I do have this ability, and they can put together a resume. I mean, I think just looking at what the name escapes me, Martin Nebelong is doing, right? Martin Nebelong is, as many of y'all know, is doing commissions for companies that, it's not just people who are within Dreams. It's not even for Media Molecule necessarily, like literally saying, hey, I make stuff in Dreams, and if you want to give me some money, I'll make you a design, right? And so Dreams can be used, can be monetized right now, and people who wouldn't have otherwise had access to Maya or whatever else, Blender. I mean, Blender, you can download it for free, but does it mean you're going to be able to figure it out for free? I mean, probably not. And so, in terms of time, at least, and whereas Dreams is something it's easier to pick up and more naturally figure out. Of course, we all know this, but yeah, it presents these opportunities that allow people to actually participate in competitive capitalist society. Interestingly enough. Even though
Well, Martin's part of the outreach team as well. So the outreach team has been as a group of people at MM that are literally all day they're trying to find ways to experientially use Dreams and other things like art exhibitions or filmmaking, pre-visualization, architecture design, school stuff. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And they've actually been, and that's the thing, is that exposing. I mean, I'd really like to expose Dreams more to the filmmaking community, because I think it has a lot of anyone that speaks the visual language. It's great for doing set design and blocking camera positions, pre-visualization, visual effects, previs, motion graphics. I mean, there's so many different things you can do. Once they add some export options, I think that's going to explode, because, as you said before, Lynn, this is going to give people access to monetizing their stuff too. If you want to do a children's book, or I don't know why I can't remember his name right now, but the guy that does Coldo animations that you may have seen, they're all done in Dreams and they look unbelievable. I'm surprised they're not going to win a BAFTA soon, because they're that kind of dot frame, and then they're not on Dreams, but they're out there, and he's got huge visibility, and he's got a whole, like, people know who he is now because of Dreams, because it's exposed him, but he's never actually put anything in the Dreamiverse. That's not a bad thing. That's just another way of using this tool to expand your own creative canvas.
Yeah. I think there is a little exporting, like, no, not literally, right? Like, it's not built in, But I mean,
Yeah.
technically, right? We can take the images that we make, we can take the music that we make, we can take the videos that we make, and we can easily throw that up on YouTube or wherever. And it is that thing, you know? I think it's at least in my mind, when it comes to creative work, it's always just been about can you manifest the damn thing, and can you build an audience for yourself? And I think Dreams allows you to do that, because like Noguchi's Bell or something, right? Like Noguchi's Bell doesn't need, you know, a team of Pixar animators to make it happen. They can do it, and it's exportable, right? Because they can upload the episodes to YouTube, and so there it is. It's right there. So in a way, you know, even though it's not like direct, right? It's not going to be 4K. It's not perfect, but still, you know, there are. I just, you know, I think it's important to keep in mind that there are some ways to export the work. That's all.
Low key,
Absolutely.
like that's
Absolutely.
the only thing that that I really, well, not, I don't know. It's just something it's so interesting because it's so unfair that we have all these other mediums of things that we can do in Dreams that can be taken out, but games we can't yet. So I'm on the party that's like, I want to see games in Dreams go other places and other platforms, PC, wherever. But yeah, and it's partially just because it's so unfair that people will slave so much in Dreams. And
No,
then, like,
that's a
we're
really
not there
interesting
yet.
point, though. If they could do a sort of wrapper that could play back, like that's totally possible, right? You could have a player that plays back the Dream in just its own wrapper engine, and that could be on PC, that could be on Mac, because then you can just play them outside the ecosystem, but you can't have access to the Dreamiverse. That's kind of interesting. That is actually a very interesting way to put it. Maybe that's a down the track thing where if something really incredible is done, they need to set it free into the real world
even
as well. So that might be one way of doing it.
Even outside of monetization, like just the ability to take your friend who doesn't have a PlayStation and be like, "Hey, I'd like you to play my game. I think you might like playing my game." That'd be cool.
I mean,
right.
Media Molecule have already said it themselves that they want exportation to definitely become a thing, and they don't even want to limit it just to the PlayStation. They want you to be able to take your creation and put it on any platform you want. However, I don't see Sony doing that, because it's Sony and they'll want to lock everything to their platform, and that's fine. I mean, at the end of the day, you made it on a PlayStation. If you can only publish it to the PlayStation Store, then, you know, it's up to you. You don't have to export it if you don't want to. But I think at least uploading to the PlayStation Store should definitely be something, so that you have the ability to get it out to the world.
Right. I mean, more games from Sony are coming to PC, right? Am I wrong on that, or?
Yeah.
No, what's interesting about that, though, is that they aren't owned by Sony. They're always owned by a third-party studio, and they're the ones that want to put it out. Like Horizon or Naughty Dog, they're all studios that are their third-party. But first-party titles don't go to PC. It's interesting to note. Maybe Death Stranding, possibly, because that's been a recent announcement.
God of War.
Yeah, I mean, look, we all want. I think we all want it to be. We want everyone to have access to it. So it's got to be somewhere down the track. Absolutely.
One way or another, it's going to happen. We just don't know which format it's going to take, whether it be a PC port, whether it be exportation directly from the PlayStation to a server with a download link and an email, whether it's just exclusive to the PlayStation Store at all. One way or another, some form of exporting to another media outlet is going to happen. It's just what frame it's going to take.
I kind of think.
Also, look, you may find things like people being Patreon to make a game. You know, we may be seeing people use different frameworks to allow to monetize the process, at least, so they have the time to do it. So you might find people say, look, if you Patreon this team or this individual, if we've got enough each month, we can keep working on this game until it's what we want it to be. So you might find there'll be some individuals and teams that will sort of leverage it that way too.
I hope so.
Already happening.
Yeah, well, true.
I'm sure.
I hope we normalize it, really, because I've seen people on at least the Facebook Dreams page release that they're doing a Patreon, and there's all these people grumbling in the comments, and I'm like, no, this is sick. Like,
you're always going to get that, though, with
awesome.
regardless,
particularly with Facebook, probably as well. So.
I mean, but Facebook are full of old, angry people, so you can't really take notice of what Facebook says.
Dang.
I mean, whatever it is, regardless.
Well, I mean, no one's
mention money, and you know, you're going to have good sides and bad sides with it in the comment section, regardless.
Right.
Hey, look, you can't, just because we're creating stuff doesn't mean you have to do it. You've got to be able to have a living. And I think Dreams is a path, and people aren't going to hire you for using Dreams yet, maybe down the track, but they will hire you based on the strength of your work, which you can create with Dreams. As you said, you can build a portfolio, you can build a show reel, you can make a body of work that shows what you have access to. And then the tools are irrelevant. It doesn't matter if you write a novel on a typewriter or a word processor, it's still going to suck, if it's bad. So the thing is that I think, but it still allows you to have, what do they call it? A portfolio day or something I've seen where people put their work up. And I've noticed a lot of dreamers now are doing that, and Blender people, and then they're going, what's this? And you go, well, it's not Blender. I'll give you, So you can see they're like, well, that's cool. I didn't know you could do that in that. And I think there's a little bit of cross-pollination that happens where there's people that have gone from Dreams over to other software and then actually come back going, yeah, look, it's cool, but I kind of prefer the comfort of Dreams. And I think there's a lot of people that are sick and tired of the traditional tools and are drawn to the immediacy of our favorite piece of software.
I think I'm both of those people.
Yeah. Would you be like, I guess, if people agree with this, because I've said it a couple of times now, but to me, Dreams is like, it's an engine that allows you to create artistically as opposed to most engines that want you to create art mathematically. Would you agree with that?
Yeah,
absolutely. I see Karsten making a face.
I'm always making faces.
Because it's just, that's the big thing that I noticed when I first got started. I'm like, every other program that you run into, it's literally like it's trying to teach you like hypertheorems in math, and it's like, unless you know what the hell they're talking about, you're just sitting there looking at a screen with a bunch of stuff on it, and you're just like, what? How do I get the circle or the square, the box to show up? And then you start sculpting, and it's like, oh, but you have too much detail in this, and then your computer starts dying inside, and it's just like, it's just Dreams. It's creation for art, for artists. It's like made by artists for artists.
Making something.
Not to bring up old discussions as well, but that's also where, like, having it on one platform also helps. Where being on a PlayStation, the limitations for everybody is exactly the same.
I guess what kind of personal growth? I think this is the last thing we're probably going to go over, as to not tempt the fates for today. But like, for me personally, it's kind of opened up Dreams has opened up my horizons as to the depth of storytelling. Whereas I came in specifically for film, and that's all I could think of. That's all I wanted to do. And then to go from that and becoming better at conveying things visually as I got more into sculpting, but also from going to only being like, I'm going to work on, an animated film. That's all I'm here for. Everybody else can leave me alone. We're going from that to, then working on writing for a video game, and how different that is. And I guess having to think even more visually than you would naturally in a screenplay. Like, that's how I would say I've grown in the whole thing. But is there something like that for everyone else, or is that just me? Yep.
I can relate.
That's happened with me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know, I definitely came in with a very specific idea. I wanted to make this experience that I had. I had this near-death experience where I was out surviving in the wild, and I wanted to, like, I tried. Yeah, it was shitty, but it's okay because I got lucky, and it didn't last that long. But it could have gone worse. And it didn't. But I've been obsessed with it ever since. And so I've just tried to write it like as a screenplay. I've tried to write it as a play, all that kind of stuff. But nothing really felt like it was capturing that vibe. And then Dreams came along, and I found that hey, I was just gonna kind of use it as a way to like model out the characters, and as a way to practice a more visual, I don't know, I was gonna end up just rewriting the screenplay or something, right? And just like have, okay, here's where this scene happens, here's where that scene happens, and I'll just sketch it out. But then I ended up realizing, why don't I just make a game that's survival, like just survival game. I'll just make a game. And so I started making a game. But that's not even that's not even as surprising to me as curation has become something in the last couple months I've really gotten into on Dreams, because Dreams encourages it, and Dreams has some infrastructure for it. And because when I can't always be doing big brain logic, like my brain gets tired and I cannot always do it. And so, if I'm in bed and I got my PS Vita remote play set up, it can be really nice to just like dig through somebody. I've been meaning to look at their creation list, just dig through all of them and pick out ones that I really like and I think might help somebody else making a collection of, hey, if you want to build a first person shooter or a third person shooter, here are some things that can get you started in that regard. And so, uh, in general, I didn't come in thinking I would make a game, but I definitely found that I could make games there. And then, kind of surprisingly, yeah, I realized that I can collect. I don't know. I like to dig around and see what people are up to, and it's kind of taken me outside of myself a little bit and given me an opportunity to appreciate all the great work that doesn't get appreciated. I don't know if that counts as personal growth, but it's certainly something I didn't expect to learn going into it. Milo says too much spaghetti makes Lisa's brain go noodly. Of course, the wires uh, are often referred to as spaghetti, and indeed, my brain does get noodly if I do too much. I gotta take a break.
Oh,
Mighty is muted.
How in
Oh,
God's
Man, that was
name?
so profound, man.
It was a
Okay.
great
Well,
story, guys.
all I'm talking about to speed this back up is logic, and the fact that basically when I've had panic attack from logic because someone was telling me to find logic and it was in a chip, and when I opened that chip, spaghetti flew out everywhere, and I was just like, oh, this is what is.
I don't
Where's
know
these
what
lines?
it is with the wires.
It's-
It gets
it's-
people, man. People hate them.
Because
I love the wires.
It's literally
When
like
you get the wires just right, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Hey, but sometimes people, I can understand it, but it's like that child, like your child is always beautiful, but then someone else sees your child, and you're just like,
What are you trying to say, Mighty?
that might not be the most beautiful child I've ever seen. I'm just saying, this is just,
Damn.
might not be-
Coming at children right now?
hey, everybody can get it. We play for keeps out here. This is real world. No, I'm just playing. And the point, but no, that's the reason for that old. How do you say it? Not adage. What do you call it? Adages? Adages?
Yeah.
It's like the old adages where it's like a face only a mother could love. Like I'm playing off of that, but I'm not being. I'm just saying. The point is like to someone who doesn't know, opening up that chip and seeing like it looks like 20 Spider-Men flew through that thing. Like I can't take it. I can't take
it's
it.
actually worse when you open your own logic that you've done like 6 months ago and you look around going, well, what was I? How did I put this together?
I had that today and I was like,
I get so lost
Gotta
coming back to
comment your
things.
code. Add some
Yeah.
text displayers in there. Don't make them show up,
Absolutely.
and just type out the way it works. It's the way
Yeah,
to do
they're
it.
actually adding the new update. Actually, adds a bunch of labels that now appear over Logic. Like the numbers will now appear, like display next to gadgets.
Already?
And stuff, so you don't,
This
no,
next
that's next update that they're adding. So now numbers will display
missed that.
in inputs and outputs, so you can just look at them now. It's awesome. So that's
I
going to
didn't
be a
know
big
that was the
change because I
next
think a lot of the. Well, yeah, it's 2.36 or something, 2.36. But yeah, I mean, I
Okay,
love the
so-
logic. I love the logic. So anything they add to logic is just more fun, to be honest. Yeah, more spaghetti.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need to organize somehow. I mean, I've had an evolution with logic where I started out and started making things, just tumbling them together, but now that's completely different, and I have like a system how I set things up and how much I space them, and I have a certain system how I name my gadget, and I name them all, and that makes a lot of things easier, even if you go back way later and don't know anything anymore about it. I can look at the gadgets and follow them through, and I can read what is. So
Yeah. Yeah, you
Well,
learn that stuff. You teach yourself. It's an opportunity to learn. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the question that Mighty was asking about personal growth. I didn't even know that I could be so organized until, I had such a motivation to try to do it.
That's cool.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Anybody else?
Well, I mean, I've felt just I'm a bit of an insular person with my own creativity generally, like I always have been. I won't play anything I've written or show anything, so I think it's perfect, and then it's not anyway. I don't know whether I'm afraid of criticism or praise. I'm not sure. But I must admit, this last year has been engaging with people has helped me sort of understand that it's not really. The best thing about an idea is that it just exists, and I think it's really productive and important for people that are a bit shut in with their own workflow even or their own creativity to actually allow dreams to let it get you out and get out of your system. Like I actually want to do some assets packs. I want to do some tutorials now. Anything I learn, I want to share. Not that I didn't before, but I'm still learning. So I think you get to the point where you'll be building something and then 6 months later you look at it and go, well, I've moved on so much further than that, so I'm not going to release that now. So there's a lot of these half-finished games and half-finished projects we probably all have that got halfway, and then you either just hit a wall or you go, I feel like I've changed during that process too. And I think you're right. Now you set up panels, you have sort of workflow of your own. Everyone has a way of organizing themselves before they start dreaming, as opposed to just getting in there and being crazy. But yeah, certainly being able to let go of your ideas and allow other people to own them and allow other people to enjoy them without having to explain, oh, this isn't ready and I ignore that and don't do this. I think that comes from working with clients where you're always apologizing. One thing I did learn about dreams is that as a designer, let's say, as a professional designer, if there are any out there, doing art is a risk for a designer. If you say to a client, oh, I'm going to do something really cool, I've got this great idea, they go, can you just do what we kind of want, what's going to work, rather than what you're a director, you're a producer kind of thing. Whereas Dreams gives you access to saying, well, art isn't a risk anymore. Your own personal style isn't a risk anymore. In fact, that's your X factor now. You can now say, my style is this. I've seen so many unique art styles and conceptual styles, approaches that are unique to people, not just how it looks or sounds, but how it's built, how it was developed, how they support it. So I think being able to have access to your artistic side as opposed to your design side is really good too. And Dreams kind of pulls that out of you really slowly and allows you to not be, sort of, as you said, anxious about allowing people to see inside your head too,
Yeah.
So yeah, I find that's been a really wonderful part of it, is just being able to not make excuses for why things aren't perfect.
I have had a profound change of mind about my own creativity. Oh, do I greet? Yeah. So I was always kind of conservative about my life decisions due to my upbringing and where I grew up, and I never considered art or design or something like like a career. I dabbled into it, but I felt off, and I enjoyed creativity throughout my life and did some music and loved the editors for games, but I never felt like I was a creative person or a creator or an artist. Just because I always thought about this is playing around and this is nobody would care. But doing stuff in Dreams made me slowly realize, no, what I do here, that's profound. That I like my stuff, and that's okay. Even if nobody else sees what I do or enjoys what I do, that what I create is amazing to me. I've always these, I call them at what moments, where there's this movie about the infamous director Ed Wood, who made trashy B movies, and early on in this movie there's a scene where he directs a stage play, and it's played by Johnny Depp, and you see him behind the stage, and on stage there's a play and people are bored, and it's kind of wonky what's on display, but he is all in it. They are saying my lines and I love it, and it's perfect. And I've got these moments in dreams all the time where I just am into my own stuff. I love that, and it has boosted my my own consciousness of being an artist and being a creator a lot. So this is self-realization throughout dreams I had.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
That was
Yeah.
that was
Beautiful.
really
Very
that was
good way of
really
putting it.
deep.
Yeah.
I was not prepared for such a beautiful sentiment.
Yeah.
That's really
very
awesome.
Poignant. Very poignant. For sure.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
for that.
Fantastic. I on the other hand was, it's completely just, yeah, I identified with that a lot. And I was also losing my mind because I thought the stream hiccuped again. And I was like, please God, not during this. Not during this. But it's fine. It's fine for now. But I think the gods are trying to tell us something. And so, like, I think we can maybe one
Mine's
more.
buffering.
Yeah.
Mine's buffering now.
Yeah. It's
happening.
trying to, it's trying to tell us something. And I don't know what it is. Like I said, nothing's dropping, no drops, all good on this. Something's going wrong. But with that, instead of going through the whole rigmarole, I guess we should.
Unfortunately, I think we should have to end. As much as I
Yeah.
don't want to, but I
I
don't
think
think
that was
it's
a
going
good
to
spot,
continue
though.
for much longer.
Yeah,
no
I think
one's
that's
gonna
a
top
brilliant.
that.
What a brilliant sentiment to end the show on.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Agreed. Yes, it's beautiful.
Yeah, and so for those that can still see us because it is still going in and out or whatever, thank you for joining us. We'll be back again tomorrow for the even more ridiculous version of this, and we'll catch up with y'all later.
Whoever's correcting this is-
Yeah, and see, the thing is I'm recording this part. Like, I'm actually going to record it on my computer so I can just add it to what's coming later. But
And I just want to say thank you to everyone for sticking with us for 50 episodes. It's absolutely crazy to me that we started this a year ago with just the hopes of just reaching out and talking to people about dreams. I didn't expect it to continue on week by week the way it has, and for people to come every week back for the show, and people talk to us on Twitter about the stuff that we talked about on the show, and it starts conversations on social media. It's just crazy. And I just want to thank everybody for sticking with us all this time, and here's to the next 50.
We'd like to thank you guys for putting so much effort into supporting the community. Here's to 100 shows.
hopefully,
Ooh,
and
yes.
by that time, hopefully Twitch will fix whatever is wrong with it.
Yeah.
No. Hopefully.
Don't count on that.
Hopefully. Yeah, I probably not. But just to each and every one of you, thank you for coming through for this show. Truthfully, I love all of you. I love the interactions we have. I love seeing even those of you who are quiet. I love seeing when you pop up on Twitter. All of you. No, I'm just playing. Just the people who are quiet. Like, Scott resurfaces every now and again on Twitter, and he's like, "Hey, here's this thing I cooked up. I'm getting back into dreams. I'll be around more." And then it's like 2 months later.
Yeah, it goes.
Here's that other thing.
That's me right there.
I'm not a social media person, so I'm trying very hard to be cool with social media just for dreams.
Oh yeah. And like I said, it's become this thing where I'm just like, when is he gonna resurface? And then he comes back and he drops. So I've been working on this. And I'm like, yes. And then he's gone again. I'm like, when will he come back? But
no, I'm back for good now. There's lots more to come. I've got a lot of little updates coming up soon, so it's gonna get a lot of different stuff I'm gonna start showing. So really looking forward to it.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome. And Kataya, thank you, especially for your activity within chat. You've been holding it down and coming in with hot takes as well. I see you. And thank you for
I got to do the double duty.
Thank you for not bringing up the forbidden topic.
I told you I wasn't gonna. I said it wasn't gonna be me.
Wait,
people say a
what is
lot of
that?
things. People say a lot of things. No, I'm just playing. But I thank you. Thank you, Avender. Always good to see you.
Look, Mighty.
yeah, you too, guys.
Mighty, you got a 2-part episode here. I like the first episode. but the second one's going to be better.
Oh, okay. All right.
There you go.
All right.
I know for one thing that tomorrow's
All
episode is
uphill.
going to be absolute chaos. That is guaranteed.
Yeah.
This was pretty civil. This was nice.
Yeah.
this was
See, that's why.
civil.
That's what I wanted for the like the first episode was to have more of a calm, nicely
storm.
cultivated group of people. We got a comment tomorrow. I don't know what's gonna happen. I really don't.
Tomorrow, whatever happens. That's it. It really is a battle royale. Just let everybody.
Oh, you're getting me
get at
scared now.
But again, even though it looks like Twitch has fixed itself, we need to go ahead and just let it go for now. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everyone that tuned in to watch us today, and we'll be back for part 2 of episode 50 tomorrow.